Hey, Andy. Hey, guys. I'm looking over the screen of the...
All right, I'm switching over, guys. I got to wrap this up. I'm switching over.
Okay, buddy. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
All right, so there's a bell too.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. Yo.
Y'all can stride falling asleep.
All right, here we go. Hope we're on the same channel. Give me a moment, and we'll switch over. All right, here we are. Let me just get that link out there, and then we will be ready to go. Okay. There we go. All right. Welcome to part 2 of the show.
Hell yeah.
What up?
What up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Why is it so quiet?
Because
Hold on.
Sam is here.
Because Sam isn't here. So I didn't really get.
I want to address this one comment real quick. So O&A Party Rock. Sam's been saying that for years. That's not a new thing about him buying a virgin. He's always talked about his wife being a virgin. It's just creepy because if you think about it, virgins are generally really young. What's up, Don? Don, why don't you hit that link this time? Come on up. So the reason we didn't dwell on it, O&A Party Rock, is because it's not new information. We know Sam claims his wife was a virgin because she was ridiculously young, apparently, because what virgin is under, like, I don't know, 20 years old? And, yeah, that's why. Sorry, HB.
Okay, so we're talking about. See, I feel like I don't know. You're saying that Sam said that his wife was a virgin?
Yeah, he said it on your stream just now, your last one.
Oh, okay.
What's up, Russ?
What up?
Oh, hey, everybody.
Russell. Welcome back.
Thank you.
What are your opinions on marrying virgins?
It's creepy.
I'd imagine you'd have to be really, 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 really young, right?
Exactly my point.
Right. Okay. That she would have to be young, or you would have to be young.
A virgin.
Yeah,
would have to
if
be
you
young.
were to marry a virgin, I wouldn't
Virgins are
imagine her
usually
being, yeah, young. I
Okay.
wouldn't imagine them being really young.
Now, what's the whole obsession with virgins about? Like,
I wouldn't
no
want
idea.
it. It's weird. It's about wanting it young. It's about insecurity is what it's about. Because you can't handle that another guy has been with your woman, which is a normal adult scenario. So you have to seek some virgin from a hyper-religious culture, such as the Philippines.
so it's a religion thing.
I don't like you, O&A Party Rock, because of some of your comments, but you're right. The age gap between him and his virgin wife is in itself disgusting. I agree. What's up, Frank? Why don't you hit that loop?
Oh,
Why don't we
Frank.
get Frank and Donna up here?
Hey, let's do it.
Let's go.
Come on in.
OG
Join
fuck party hour.
Yeah, exactly. Here since, what, 2016, 2018?
2018,
Right.
2019.
Back
It's
when,
been a while.
yeah, back when people.
Is there any more of this?
Do you want wine or do you want beer?
I'll have a beer if it's.
I got you your second one.
So did you ever?
Beer.
Did you report your DoorDash?
I did. They refunded us and we reordered it.
All right.
Should be here in a minute.
So people were getting. Now I never like to, make the stream, based on what everyone in the comments is saying, but it seemed like a lot of people were getting really uncomfortable with the fighting with you two, and I'm wondering, is that because this has been going on for a long time, or?
A couple years, probably, right? Ever since,
Yeah.
I'll just say, the woman whose name starts with K. Ever since that, probably, as far as I can remember.
His name starts with K.
Yes,
Kendrick Lamar.
the
Carly?
princess of Shaw, or whatever we should.
Oh, Caitlin.
That's when you and him started getting into it, because he was white knighting for her.
Yeah, he still does.
And that's
Yeah.
been at least a couple years ago now.
That's true. Yeah. It's been a long time. I went out with her in
But
2021.
it got worse with the other woman I won't mention. It got worse and worse.
It's a similar situation. He has a thing for both of them. It's weird.
And Sam, I'm not talking out of turn. This is what happened.
Please, I mean, let's stop.
It's so hot.
My reader's on.
So you think he becomes infatuated with any girl you've been with?
I don't think it's because I'm with them.
Brady, I think I turned it off.
But yeah,
Brett, I think I turned it off.
I think it's coincidence.
It's just an interesting coincidence.
Yeah. I don't think it's because of me, but yes. He's definitely infatuated with both of those two, for sure.
Do you think some men, maybe so? This is a dumb theory, possibly, but some men are born to cock block and they just can't help it.
I don't know if it's like, I mean, Sam's about 70 years old, so I don't know if it's about that, but it's like, I don't know. He definitely has a weird crush on. There we go.
Me?
Yeah,
Great.
Steffi Ann, you're next.
Hey,
Our DoorDash
thank
just
you
got
so
here.
much. Have a good night.
It's eating time.
Oh, did I say something? Oh,
Food,
No,
sir.
you didn't say nothing. Our,
Maybe catch something there. Maybe catch a boy.
our food just got here.
I could.
oh, all right.
I gotta go pee. I'll be right back.
I know the driver probably fucking ate it. I don't know. Sometimes that happens. The driver gets hungry. They start eating your food. Russell.
But they just
You
take
ever-
off with it.
Yeah. Are you a
Weird.
DoorDash person?
I haven't done it here in Richmond, but I did it when I lived in Powhatan, and no one ever stole anything. It always turned out fine.
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever stolen, but I think mine was like it showed up with missing food a lot.
I didn't do
But I
it
feel like
a lot, so I mean, I was wise not to. It was expensive, you know.
yeah, that's also why I want to like not do it so often because I waste way too much money. It's like it ends up like double the price of what it originally was sometimes.
Yeah, and it's Taco Bell, something that's not even really that swanky, and you spent like $80 on it.
Yeah, exactly, man. So you yeah, there was a lot of just like drama tonight.
Why did Sam leave?
Because he's a bitch.
Now you can get your real feelings out now that he's not here. I just feel like the back and forth, it's almost like I can't hear either of you because, you know, he wants to talk, you want to talk, and it's just like I hear some of it, but I miss a lot of it. And, you know, Sam, I don't know. There's so much lore about Sam that I don't know what's true and what isn't. If you can figure it out, you know, good on you. I really don't know. Because there's things so sad, you know. There's things other people say. There's accusations from Cynthia, all of people, you know. And I almost feel like without proof, I don't know what the hell to say about it. Now, we do need our other co-host, Russell. We're going to interview her. Would you ever interview? Who are some other people you would interview? Would you interview Alex?
One day, I will be eating McDonald's.
Does that make sense? Does that make so? Who are some people you would interview, Russell?
Oh, I don't know. I would have to just I have to think about that.
Yeah,
I was thinking of doing like the main people that are the busters, but I can definitely branch out from that.
Yeah. So like Sam Hill, do you have your questions ready, or is it like you want to wait and set things up and then have your questions ready? Like, how quick are you to go if we said, yeah, next week?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then after that, I guess we branch out. I know. Would you ever want to interview musicians?
I'd have to know about them somewhat to
Right.
know what kind of questions to ask. But yeah, I could do that. Yeah,
Okay.
that'd actually be pretty easy.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Amazing.
what's his name?
Hmm.
Jeremy. He's a musician. Now, what's your opinion of his guitar playing?
I think he's fine. I think it's just people that
It's improved. It used to suck, but he's gotten better.
a lot of people they're always going to criticize you. They're not really going to go out of their way to say anything nice.
Yeah, that's the
About
thing. You
anything
can be
you do.
pretty damn good on YouTube, and people are still going to talk shit.
Oh God. So you're saying I'm just inviting you to criticize him?
No, I
Basically.
wouldn't. But
No, the chat
No.
and what will criticize him, even if he's good. Russ is kind of undeniably pretty good as far as his guitar.
I just think it's a good thing to don't criticize your fellow guitar players unless they're talking a lot of shit and acting like they're the greatest guitar player on earth, which Jeremy does not do at all. He does not act like that at all.
He doesn't.
How about Rev? Does he do that?
Yeah, yes. Rev one time said he's better than Russell, which is absolutely retarded and ridiculous.
Oh, Russell's
No, but it's so difficult to talk to certain people because they're always angry about something else, and it wouldn't be a guitar-based interview.
so
After
over
5 minutes, probably.
Russell is, as far as I've seen, is the best guitar player. What's his name? Is pretty good. The guy with the one leg. What's his name?
Who's the one leg
guy? What's his fucking name? Randall. Randall. You know Randall?
Yes,
No.
he is good.
He's good. Yeah. But other than that, it's Russell.
And you brag the least out of anybody.
Yeah, Russell's super humble.
Russell, would you say you're okay? No, I can't ask that right after you say it. He's humble. I was going to ask him if he's
No, I
undeniably
put a
good.
lot of time and thought into it. I think that's what you do, right? If you want to get good at something, you become obsessed with it.
Exactly. You become obsessed. Yeah.
Russ is just good at it. He played remember he played the beginning today once, the Smashing Pumpkins.
I don't think that was good. I don't know if I know how to play that one.
You played it perfectly. That's why I was like, man, this guy can play.
So what stream was that on? Was that Sam Hill's stream?
I don't remember.
Okay. Now, Russell, what did you think of the idea of on a show, before I do a monologue, you play like a song or two?
I can just make up something.
You can make up something if you want, or cover whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you improvise musically? Like,
yes, I do that a whole lot. I probably improvise more than
Russ can play bass also. It's not just guitar.
Oh, wow.
Basters. You talk about that on Basters?
Yeah.
That's going to be, well, we'll see. And now, what do you think? What's your opinion on guitar-leles? Ukulele, whatever you call them?
Ukuleles, I think they're fine. I'm a big fan of Tiny Tim.
Oh, no, they're great. I love ukuleles.
But what about, ukulele. Okay, you used to play one?
No.
Okay. But what about those little guitars?
Ukulele.
They look like ukuleles.
Travel guitars?
They're 5-string ukuleles.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm not familiar with those either, but I love stringed instruments.
Mm-hmm.
All the different types.
Okay. You ever play a violin?
Oh, that's very nice.
I've tried, but I've just sounded pretty horrible.
That's the hardest. They say that's the hardest instrument to play. Is the
how many strings does that have? Like 8?
4?
4. Okay.
5?
I think 4. Yeah.
No. 5.
Okay.
It's tuned differently too. So say you're used to playing a bass, which is a 4-string instrument usually. A violin wouldn't make any sense to you. And plus you've got to be able to bow the notes instead of picking them with your fingers or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a harder.
It's a technique. It's almost a genius level of music.
Yeah, they say it's the hardest instrument.
I can believe it because if you look at one, it's so little. There's no frets either. A fret will tell you pretty much. Like if you're in tune and you have frets on it, you'll know what notes what. But anything fretless, you have to be able to hear the correct note while you're playing it.
Yeah.
So you have to have like a perfect musical ear to do that?
I would say, yeah, you have to know that, yep, that's an A, that's a C, and, you know, that's perfect.
And you just know that at this point?
I don't know.
No, you don't.
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Russ seemed like he just said he didn't know the notes to the Smashing Pumpkins song he played today, but he played it perfectly. So I think Russ can actually hear. He can actually play by ear very well.
Oh wow! Nice.
I did a lot when I was young. I would get into a band and learn how to play stuff by ear.
Wow.
But that's a lot of fucking around till you get somewhere, which I think is a good way to practice. If you are willing to spend hours, days to try to figure out something, that's not going to be bad for you at all. It's only going to make you better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so how old were you when you started playing?
When I seriously started playing, like learned how to tune and learn some chords and stuff, I was around 13, 14.
That's a good age.
Yeah. Well, Steffi, did you also play?
No, but I grew up. No, my uncle, from my family, but who my aunt married was a picker and grinner, so he could play everything. Banjo, he could play everything. Picking and grinning, bluegrass. He's still into bluegrass. He's still doing that.
Ah, okay. All right. So a banjo, was that 4-string, 3-string?
Yeah, he can play anything like mandolin. I mean,
I think a banjo is 6.
Yeah, he's from like an old school bluegrass, picking and grinning.
Ask Mike Brown. He plays banjo.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60 years, Mike. I'm actually having a 60th anniversary.
My bad, Mike. So 5 string. Mike actually talked about buying a banjo once.
I don't know anything about that, but
I know he's tinkering with it.
And my exes in my old home, my ex's house, my ex, we had the guitars hanging on the wall from Les Paul down to anything from the 80s that he collected. It was hanging in our living room. So, but I'm not into music. So,
I see.
Russ has a shit ton of guitars. Showed the rack of them.
I spent a lot of money on guitars that I will never play. That's all I can say.
Damn it.
Did you just collect them, or what was your mindset? Were you trying to collect them? Were you trying to play them?
Oh no, I was just trying to make him happy.
I see what you're.
Yeah, it was. He had his own collection, and he had a violin. He comes from a nice family in Philadelphia, and so he inherited a lot of stuff, and then he collected stuff during the 80s and the 90s, and then I came along, and then he wanted a Les Paul, this and that. So I electric guitars, but like from my uncle Jackson, I learned about bluegrass and picking and grinning, but I'm not a very musical person. I could care less about stuff like that. So
okay. And what is picking and grinning?
You don't know what picket? It's bluegrass.
Oh,
Go
that's
look
just
it up.
another name for.
Bluegrass. You got the fiddle, you've got the banjo, you've got the mandolin. It's almost like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton has that kind of thing to her. So yeah, it's poor white trash, hillbilly, Appalachian, Southern Appalachian. That type of thing.
Appalachian.
Appalachian.
Is that Russell playing in the background?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Russell, come closer to the mic.
If you've ever
Oh,
seen the movie Deliverance, and you've seen the
I
dueling
was checking to
banjo,
see if this one
Oh
was in
yeah.
tune.
Oh okay. Yeah, that scene. Don't they play that while the guy's getting raped or something?
That kid was a real hillbilly. They found.
Yeah, he was,
He wasn't like an actor. This guy in Hacks Against Hacks is actually.
Oh.
Yeah, the rape scene.
okay, yeah, we know.
That was what. Okay. Yeah, I never watched that. See, I don't know if I would.
Awesome movie.
It is a great movie.
Squeal, piggy, squeal.
Hey, Ghostbusters would like this. The guy that plays dueling banjos, his name was Steve Grossman. He's a Jewish guy.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah. That kid actually wasn't a musician. The director, I forget who it is now. He just liked the way he looked, but he actually wasn't that skilled of a banjo player.
Oh,
really? I thought he was. Got it wrong. Huh.
He just knew that one song?
No, I think he just mimed or whatever you would call it.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Why
Terrifying
is that
movie.
movies from the 70s just seem really, really, really good almost
Yeah,
always?
the 70s was a great time for movies and music.
A lot of the dudes looked like Brett too. He could have been a leading man in one of those movies. He has that sort of
And Deliverance, yeah, he could.
De Niro. Burt
I was a
Reynolds,
regular Burt
perhaps.
Reynolds.
He would look like a great hillbilly with a northern accent.
Yeah, right.
Interesting. Is that a compliment?
John Voight. That was Angelina.
Wait, John. Yeah, that's Angelina.
I am a good interpreter. If you ever need to hear hillbilly, if you need to have an interpreter for hillbilly knees, I'm your girl.
All right.
Hey y'all, yes, turd.
What is yins? Is that y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Yins
Okay.
is
Yins, yeah, this is where it
Pittsburgh.
gets confusing.
Oh,
Because I was,
Pittsburgh. Okay.
my ex was from Pittsburgh, so you got yins, but we call them yins. Yins. How yins doing? They say yins.
Yins. Okay.
Yeah,
Y'all.
Ghostbusters came from an interesting part of the country. We were talking about crazy Pennsylvania
Oh yeah.
last time.
In Philadelphia, they say use for
Yeah.
y'all. Yins. Yeah, there's some weird stuff that's happening.
Say
Yeah.
water.
What Wooder?
You really lost your
Wooder.
accent if you had one, Brett.
People in New York
I
would
would've
always make
never-
water.
I thought you were born and bred in Washington when I first met you, or when I first heard you talk.
Who, me?
Yeah, I didn't realize you had come from upper east. Hey, upper east.
Well, I
What are you, half a fag? Are you half a fag or something?
I
You
lived
said
in
you wanted new shoes.
I lived in St. Louis as a young kid. Then I moved to New Jersey in my teens, so mostly New Jersey.
He's mostly a northern guy.
Hey,
His personality, attitude, he's
what's wrong, Spider? I don't exist. I don't fucking exist.
Well, where's Don A from?
Buffalo.
Oh, he's definitely from one of those extremely.
John A's from Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. Hey, where I saw him in chat earlier.
Yeah, yeah. We were trying to get him up there. Him and Frank.
That'd have been a real blast from the past.
Yeah. Yeah, there was something like him and Unbleached not getting along, and I said something to him, so he thought he wasn't like welcome around here for a while.
Yeah,
But, I explained it.
So Don A or Frank?
Yeah.
It was like doxing. I forget.
Yeah. He used to have a weird like 3D character. Do you ever see this, Alex? On the Don A stream, he had Unbleached, but he was like shirtless.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
yeah. It was like a little, it was like a little cartoon in the corner.
Yeah, it looked like a gremlin or like a fucking. It was weird.
Frank, hit that link. It's above you.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
Is the link still there?
Yeah, I posted it.
Okay.
Frank, come up. Seriously. I haven't talked to you in ages.
I think the first time I talked to Frank, I don't know if it was really him or someone else, but we were like arguing and fighting on air a bunch, but we didn't know each other, so I don't even think like we were fighting about made any sense. But then after that, we both like it was a totally normal conversation. It was pretty weird.
There he is.
Yeah, Frank,
Mr. Frank.
Yeah.
He's a bit weird.
He's doing handstands in front of like mandala tapestries and shit.
Who got him to stick a light bulb in his butt?
Oh shit. You don't want to do that doctor's visit. Yeah. Wait, would you donate money to get him to do that?
No, he just does it. He just does it on his own accord.
Oh. Yeah.
He's quite an entertainer.
It's like Jackass, but
exactly. We got him to eat worms one night, like fucking bait.
I remember that. They were in sawdust, in cups of sawdust or something.
It was bait. He ate it.
It's supposed to be good for you, though.
Yeah, all protein.
But he told me, I don't think I'm talking out of turn here, he really hurt himself doing something for a stream.
He lit his
collarbone or shoulder or something.
He poured alcohol over his hand once and lit it on fire.
Oh. I can't remember if I saw that, but yeah. Oh, was that the flame punch?
Yeah.
Did you do the flame punch? Wow. Did he get burnt?
Not really.
I think so.
Meal
I think
one.
his collarbone or rotator cuff was by far the worst. Because I remember him telling me about that. And this is not secret or anything, so. Man, that's been years ago. I can remember being out on the town listening to Frank and Ian Ellis, and everyone got along back then that doesn't like each other now.
Yeah, Frank was going to start a business with Ross, and then they had a falling out.
Wow.
Doxing involved. I don't remember which way, but
that's how long ago this was. Yeah, that's what he said. Yep.
Because Frank's an exterminator, and Ross is like a plumber.
$80,000 in surgery for that. He did a one-handed cartwheel.
Damn. So that's how much it costs without insurance, or what? Like 80.
Yeah, probably. I doubt he has insurance.
Okay. Wow. Did this happen on stream where he broke his arm?
Yeah, all this shit was to entertain us.
Oh my god.
Frank's a real physical character.
Yeah. I wish I could
Belushi.
see. Yeah.
Comedy.
Yeah, that would be good to see all that stuff. I guess it's gone.
So I have an idea.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, he has access to a guitar, and part
Mhm.
of the stream, which will kind of like we like, you know, it might be a divisive segment, but it's like I teach Ghostbusters how to play like Louie Louie or something like that, like a basic guitar tune.
I'd watch that. You have a guitar, HB?
Yeah, from a long time ago. I want to bring it over to my place and start to learn a bit. I really don't know anything yet. Wait, so why would that be divisive, Russell?
Well, some people don't like it when people are playing guitar on stream.
Oh,
Just Sam.
because he doesn't get to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like when Russ played on stream.
Yeah, wait, did you say Russell played it earlier today on Sam's stream? Oh no, you said the song today. Never mind.
No, the song today, yeah, Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what about you, Alex? Did you ever play any instruments like guitar or anything like that?
Yeah, piano.
Piano. Okay.
No stringed instruments. May plays ukulele a little bit, and she taught me a little bit of ukulele, but not. It was like one time.
Oh.
It's kind of interesting though. I was just like trying to use the frequency analyzer on my phone to like figure out what each string was pitching at, and that's about where I stopped.
What?
I have an effects pedal called a frequency analyzer. It's a ring modulator.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You were showing me like there's so much stuff. All this advanced guitar stuff.
You get into buying a stomp boxes, effects pedals. Yeah, there's zillions of them. There's always new stuff coming out too.
Yeah,
all
people have
like every month a bunch of guitar related stuff is coming out, or they're announcing that it's coming out in the next few months.
Yeah, the signal chain is really important in a single, like a person's sound. So what kind of effects you have?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, the effects you have like in a chain. It's like guitar pedals and then different kinds of compressors and all that kind of shit.
Okay.
Has a lot of sound, and then the amps themselves impart a certain kind of sound. And then each guitar is different. It's a whole thing. Seems very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of stuff goes into that too, like what type of guitar strings you use, picks, the action, how high or low the strings are on the fretboard. All that stuff makes a big difference, I've learned.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very big variation compared to like piano or something. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff with piano too, but
every guitar player usually prefers a certain setup too.
Oh. Pianos are discrete, so it's like you press a certain note, or then the next one you can't really get in between them. But a guitar, you can go between the notes, so it's like
and there's the same exact note repeating on a guitar too. You don't have to worry about that on a piano.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So you can. So on a piano, there's no way to. So if you're playing an A note and then a B or a C above it. It's discrete. It's like a discrete jump.
Hey, Russell, Alex.
What's up, Frank?
What's
good to see you, dude.
How's it going?
Thank you. It's going. I can't complain.
Frankie two times.
You done, man?
Where you been?
Just been working a lot. I'm just doing things. So I really like the way the stream started off with Sam Hill.
I missed all that.
Sam ran away.
Yeah, I was loving every second of it.
Yeah.
It's okay, Sam. We love you. Not.
Did you get along with Sam? I don't even remember.
I used to
Mm.
until he
Okay.
started to be a pussy
Usually how it
because I
goes.
tried to dox him.
Oh yeah, that's right. Frank had his docs apparently. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, so you found out he was like 60 or something? Is that how
Mm-mm.
this went?
No, everybody knows how old he is.
He's old.
But I
It was his name.
threw out a fake name and he just ran with it. It was a little crybaby.
Yeah, I tried to
Wow.
play the victim. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah, of course. If he can play the victim, he will. So you
Mhm.
didn't even have real docs of him?
No.
Wow. Now, you and this guy, Movie Maniac, did you get along with him?
Yes.
Okay. Because he was, I don't know, he was like telling me you had a falling out or something weird like that.
Yeah, we did, but I
You're
took
all
care of
good.
it. He was just pissed. He was
I
pissed
had a
about
falling
something,
out
and I.
with Frank once, and we were fine the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
the only reason I'm friends with Russell is because he said he was going to kill Sam Hill.
I remember that.
And then I remember one time Russell says, "If I get your doc, Sam, I'm going to make coffee mugs and everything out of it."
Samuel
I think it
Nordstrom.
would be a shame if he left because of that. He always says he will if people find out who he really is.
I don't think anybody's going to. He's not going to let that out.
Yeah. He
He's too
claimed
afraid.
that somebody. Oh, he claimed that Evil Abe put his name out there.
Same as
Yeah, that was
Ethan
from
Hunt.
something years ago that someone else had originally done.
Yeah,
So
the
it was
name that
kinda
begins
like-
with a V. That's been going around forever.
Because remember Ghostbusters, he still brings up that you doxed his nickname, which is kind of a weird thing to bring up.
Cole?
So,
Cole?
Yeah.
He told everyone they call me Buddy. That son of a bitch.
Yeah. Does that really count as a dox?
no,
Well, if he's upset about something, he's going to bring it up. We do know that.
he loves to be a victim. That's definitely not a dox.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been bringing that up for years. Multiple times every year.
He likes it. He wants people to think he looks like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. So,
He's been 36 for 6 years.
Frank, how old do you think he really is? If you got to guess.
Probably 65.
65?
Wrong. 72. 71 or something.
Yeah.
1953. Set my life on it.
No,
This goes
Let's
back
go.
to
Let's go like 80 something. 7, 8, 40.
He'll turn 72 in 2025 at some point.
I mentioned, Frank probably doesn't know this, but Sam himself mentioned a college roommate. And unfortunately, the guy had such a unique name. There's only 2 of them in the United States of America.
Ooh.
And one was 90, and the other one was 70, 71, and that's why everyone.
No shit. I don't remember
Wow.
that.
Yeah. That's what it was. So Sam, you gotta. Then he said something about how he thought the name was funny, and that's why he used it. But everyone already thinks that.
If you know that guy, we should call him up and ask who's.
I forget his
I think
name.
someone actually wanted to
Cool Boy
interview
would
him
remember.
to ask about him, but
They did call. They did
Like I
call him.
said,
That was back in the top tier days, and they did contact him.
yeah, I don't want him going away. I'm not really into like the drama and talking about Maine noodles every stream kind of stuff. But I wouldn't want it if he left because of something like that. That wouldn't make me happy at all. I would miss him.
I would be dick
I don't
hurt.
think I would. That was funny as fuck though when that guy's name came out. Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
It was a funny
But that was Sam. No one pried it out of him. He had written some poem or something like that and dropped the
No, he
guy's
just told
name.
us about it. He was like, this guy used to. Oh my God, yeah, there he goes. He was like, this guy used to have a teepee in his dorm room.
Yeah,
he said
he was like a guru at the college or something like that.
He said the guy's name, and there's all kinds of alt accounts, and like Cool Boy and Ozzy Ellis were contacting him, like trying to get an interview. It's fucking funny.
Well, don't everybody talk at once. So when's the last time everybody got laid?
Monday? No. Yeah, I think Monday. Monday was President's Day, right? Yeah. Would have been Monday morning. What about you, Frank?
How long?
My girlfriend's here right now, but she just got here. So.
My girlfriend's here right now too. How long? About 2 hours, maybe 3? 2 or 3 hours ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love eating ass.
Oh my God, no.
Was that her?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, she doesn't like it when I give her the old slip of the tongue down
Oh
there.
my gosh, once it's
What's her name? What's your name, ma'am?
Star.
Star? That sounds like a Frank girlfriend. Nice.
I think I know a little bit about you from Frank.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Very flattering. Everything he said was very, very nice.
Oh good.
He said you're a healer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he's very, very, very gushing about you a couple months ago. Telling me about you.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I make my own salves and oils. I do some Reiki and
And her pussy tastes like apricot.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, see, everyone might not think that Frank is super romantic, but he really is. I hope I'm not doxing him by mentioning how romantic he is.
Yeah, I've known a few
He's not
Frank
always a dick.
girlfriends. No offense, Star, but I've known a few. I mean, I've known Frank a long time, so.
Yeah, I just kind of ended up on his doorstep randomly. No, it's weird. I was trying to find my friend's house, and I'm not familiar with the town that we were living in because I just moved there, and this house had this like neon number above it, and then I saw a neon sign that was like the same. It was white. I don't know if I'm sounding right.
Okay.
And like I couldn't get internet, so I could get my maps down. I was way off, completely way off on my the address I was trying to find, but I ended up at the apartment building that he lived in, and this one guy that knew him came down and checked on me, and he told me about how he collects wigs and stuff. And that night I found some wigs. So the next day
No, it wasn't a day. It was 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Later, no, it was the same day. Okay, I came over and I asked if I could meet him because I had some wigs, and we just hit it off right away. Like we became friends instantly. He's definitely part of my soul family, I'd have to say. And he's helped me out a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He acts like a champ.
So his decor, his neon light kind of
his
like a spider's web.
You gotta remember, Frank did grow up in the 80s, so he probably loves anything neon.
Yeah,
Frank's the kind of guy to hang like Christmas lights in his living room.
Yeah, the sign that was in the windows, it said, "This must be the place."
Yeah. And it kind of made me feel kind of safe even though it was kind of a creepy area of the town. But it was like I felt like it was safe enough to just sit on the step and just try to figure out where I was at and how far off I was on this address of my buddies. And yeah, I actually ended up having to ask a police officer to help me find my friend's address because I could not find it because the town, like the street that it was on, changes from like 3rd Street or 3rd Avenue to this other weird name. And so I was like, does this street even exist? I'm like, is this place in frickin' Narnia? Like, I cannot find it at all. And so, yeah, a police officer had to actually give me a ride because I was like, I could not find this place at all to save my life.
I am 18 years older than her.
No, you're not.
Not?
Um,
1953. 17?
7? No.
So you're
Well-
in your 30s, ma'am?
Actually, I'm in my late 30s. Well, actually, I'm 43.
Okay. Frank's like 60, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm doing the math.
I mean, him and my mom are 7 years apart. My mom and I are 20 years apart. So
She calls me daddy.
13. No, that's a little
Only
weird.
when I'm spanking her in the back.
Only Big Papa. Yeah, no, just joking. Big Papa. No, he yeah, I call him old man all the time. He loves it.
Very romantic.
It's so sweet. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he's not always a dick, but he definitely,
I try hard to be a dick.
I think I'm more of a dick than he is.
But she does get dick down.
Oh my gosh. Breaking the 8 years spell, I suppose.
You don't need to tell that.
Anyway,
Erase that part.
sorry, I just woke up, so I'm not like completely coherent, but
And I should probably put some pants on.
but yes, I do like I do massage therapy. Like I specialize in the sciatic. And I also my grandma was a natural healer, and so I know a lot of natural remedies and stuff. And I also am into like binaural beats, like the frequencies, the hertz. There's actually
I listen to that kind of stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube. At
Yeah.
A432, the healing frequency instead of A440. Yeah.
A440 is the tuning note.
What's 1080? 1080, so 1080 megahertz or something.
Love is the highest frequency.
What's the
That
frequency? What note is it? Let me
I think
guess.
it's
A
like-
G. It's a G note.
It's
G
for
is the most
something.
beautiful.
No, that's F6 like a G
I
thing.
think it's 436 is the level.
All the notes are like fractions or decimals except for A. A is 55, 110, 220, 440, 880, and so on.
Put the big brains on that.
It's always an integer. It's not a
Huh.
there's no decimal portion.
I guess I never looked at it like that. I know that there's a certain frequency that will kill cancer.
No shit.
Yep, they've discovered that. And then there's also one that helps like heal PTSD trauma.
Okay, here's a trivia. Is your butthole cleaner than your hands? Yes or no?
Mine is.
Probably, right?
You know, people
Like
don't
they
do
say
that.
a
I would
dog's
rather
mouth is
lick,
cleaner
I would rather lick a butthole than somebody's hand.
Well, that's interesting. That'd be an interesting hello.
Just keep your hands out of your butthole, okay?
Nice greeting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's all kinds of really neat things you can do with like the frequencies and stuff that people just don't realize. And of course, if they're not going to broadcast that you can kill cancer by just playing a certain hertz, but It's amazing. Like everything has a frequency. Even like the crystals. Crystals have different frequencies and stuff, and that's how they are able to heal. And
She said crystal.
crystals.
Hey, where's Poon, John? Is he around? Still?
I can text him. You want me to text him?
Yeah, tell him Frank said to suck his dick.
Wow.
I'll try and get him over here.
I have his number. I just haven't talked to him in a while.
Let me find let's see if I can't find what frequency that was. But I think I had it on my Instagram.
Where's HB? Did he leave?
Yeah,
that's what
he's
he,
not up here anymore.
Oh
So
my
we're
God.
going
what he
to
does.
Probably bored
He,
him
he lets the
with my-
panel go sometimes.
we're gonna have to talk about sex
That's like
nonstop.
John. John does that too. John will leave his panel for like an hour or two.
I don't get. Tell me this, Frank. Riddle
John
me
as in
this.
food.
Why did he sell his channel, but he's still streaming? I thought he was quitting completely when he sold his
Well,
channel.
he streams on his other channel.
Oh, well, that's still. I thought he said he was done. But
Yeah.
I've said that before
He
too.
said
So
that.
I knew that was bullshit. Of course, he's not going to.
You know, didn't he supposedly had like $4,000 on that channel of his? Did he ever
Yeah,
get
he
it?
was owed it.
Huh?
Supposedly, I don't really believe it, but supposedly he sold it for $5,000 to Raleigh Jones. He did sell it to Raleigh Jones, but I don't believe it was $5,000.
No, not at all.
Who the fuck's paying $5,000?
Not at all. Raleigh wouldn't buy that channel for $5,000.
Yeah, he didn't have 5,000
He
subs.
wouldn't even buy it for 1,000.
Maybe 1,000, but I don't think much more than that. I don't know though. I just texted him. I told him to come over here, but he hasn't responded.
If he has the same number. Okay, children.
I'm gonna see if I can't find.
I'm gonna jump in the shower. Russell, have a good evening. Alex, good talking to you.
Frank,
All right,
Mrs.
man.
Frank, take it
Take it
easy.
easy, Frank.
Yeah.
Mrs.
Thanks for
Frank.
letting me up. Yep.
It's nice meeting you guys. Sorry, I'm kind of out of it.
Yep. I'm off like a dirty rubber.
Oh geez.
All
See
good.
ya.
Make like
Ciao.
a chicken head
Yeah, make like a dick and head.
or like a pussy and split.
Yeah, bye guys.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I'm looking at May's stream right now. She's got B Socks up there and Cosmic Camp and Jackson Black. What the fuck?
She's just going for like the bottom of the barrel people to
Apparently, B Socks. B Socks is
align
in
with.
that universe.
I never understood that hate bonding thing because it doesn't work.
No, seems to be the theme.
He's gonna have more enemies in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. GLM in chat. It's got 20 something
There are
viewers.
certain people that they just always have to be in some sort of YouTube conflict.
Yeah, it's a common theme. Foreman, why don't you come up?
Don't ever think that they like you more than anyone else and that they'll never turn on you, because they will turn on you too.
Coming up, Foreman.
Where's Hostbusters though? He's got to be able to let.
Oh, that's true. He's probably in the background. Maybe he's not. Good point. Foreman, are you streaming? You probably are, right? You always are streaming. Or maybe not.
You got some happy birthday, Jeremy. He got some sexy pics, everybody.
Who'd you get them from, Jeremy? Spooky Girl? He was dropping his fucking phone number in the chat. I'm pretty sure it was his phone number because 425 is the area code from where he's at. So. Well,
Hey,
I'm gonna
Mud's
guess.
live.
Mud's always live on Friday night. I'm gonna guess it was Spooky Girl for me. Because who else is gonna send you pics? From the people that were in chat. Where is Mud? I'm trying to find him. Let's see. What's his channel name? It's
Camelot.
yeah, Camelot. Oh, it's not showing up. Oh, he is live. Blitzkrieg Deliver.
He might have just started.
Oh yeah, 2 minutes ago. Huh. It's got Corey up there.
How you doing?
Corey's fucking his chair. What the fuck?
My bad. Phone died.
Oh, welcome back.
I'm back.
We're
We're
talking about the whole hate bonding thing and how that's never a good idea. I don't think.
Tell me, why are you sending Foreman pics?
Oh boy. What?
Foreman's claiming he got pics after he dropped his phone number. What do you think? You believe him?
Huh.
Of women.
From Kimmy?
From Kimmy? I doubt it. Kimmy's married. Maybe, though. That'd be quite an accomplishment.
Who do you think it was then?
Spooky.
Oh, from Spooky.
That's my guess. No offense, Spooky, but, just saying.
He says multiple women.
I don't believe that.
Prove it.
Yeah, exactly. Prove it. Get up here, Foreman. Hosty's up. Hosty's back. Click the link.
Yeah, it's his birthday today. Well, no, not here, but where he's at, it's still his birthday.
What'd I miss? Did I miss some good banter?
You missed
the band.
Frank's girlfriend named Star.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, nice lady.
Girlfriend did what?
Not me. I got a tranny dick. Do you? I heard there's this trend on Instagram. I learned this from Joe Rogan of hot females pretending to be trans and putting like dildos in their underwear and shit to look like they're trans. Yeah, because then they get all this.
There's something you can get called a packer that you put in your underwear to make it look like you got a little bulge if you're a female to male transitioner.
Wait, what is it called?
A
that
packer.
Makes sense.
A packer.
They sell them on
Amazon. They use socks.
Yeah, you could. Well, a lot of rock and roll guys, like back when tight pants were really popular. They would. One of them, supposedly Elvis Presley, cut off like a piece of pipe and put it in a sock and had that down his pants. Don't know if that's true or not, but Tom Jones allegedly did the same thing too. But this is YouTube, and this is all alleged, people. I don't want anyone coming to kill me because of something like that.
I think Tommy Lee was the only one with a legitimately giant dick.
I heard from Pamela DeBar. She was a groupie for years. He said that Huey Lewis had a monster one. That he just was like, yeah, that's why he's so. He seemed like an upbeat dude,
Yeah, all the songs are right.
You're saying that's why it was
Don't
so.
need
Square, Power of Love.
Don't need no credit card to ride this train.
Yeah, Power of Love is a good song.
Yeah, and so is Heart and Soul. I think that's my favorite song by them.
Yeah, that was a great scene in American Psycho. And he's like Huey Lewis in the News and their album. What the fuck was the name?
More cynical than Elvis Costello. Or not as cynical as Elvis Costello.
Dude,
That was funny because people used to say I acted like that because I like to talk about music, you know? And around the time that movie came out, if I started talking about something, people would be like, uh-oh, it's Patrick Bateman.
What was the name of his album? I can't remember. He's like describes it better than the main Huey, the one with Power of Love and Hip to Be Square.
Oh shit! There's one called Four.
Yeah,
that
Four.
has Hip to Be Square on it, but the one before that, Sports, was the mega one.
Yeah, and that's what Patrick Bateman did. He's like, when he was talking.
Sports was a monster. When I was a little kid, every adult that I knew had that on some format. And then there's the Back to the Future soundtrack, which has a couple of songs that, like, Got to Go Back in Time.
Yep.
Excellent song.
Yeah, Marty McFly was a good guitar player. He played Earth Angel.
Rock and roll, Marty McFly.
Oh, yeah.
You want to hear a really nerdy fact? Is that the guitar that he was playing is a Gibson ES 335, and those didn't come out till 1959. So it's
it's 55.
Actually incorrect.
it was a little goof there. Yeah, a blunder.
No shit.
You're like
I think I may marry Chuckles this summer. My thoughts.
We like Chuckles, Jeremy. We really do, and I don't know, man. It just seems like. No offense, but Grace just seems like she would be like really, really, really mentally deranged, as Kimmy said earlier, and that you would have a hard time.
Wait, you think a girl that pretends or maybe really does fuck her dad is mentally deranged? No shit.
It's just, it doesn't. I'm not trying to be mean, dude, but that's not cool, is it? Would you be okay with that kind of shit?
And the way she, no offense,
if it's not
but the way
true,
she treated
that's
him
kind of
was
worse. That it's not true, but they're playing along with it. That's worse, man. Well, no, it's not worse.
Fucking your dad.
I don't know if it's worse, but it's bad.
I take that back. It's bizarre in its own right.
Yeah.
Clint Howard.
Wait, Russell, did you see that interview I did with her about the scenario?
With Grace?
Yeah.
Oh, but didn't you say she was real snippy towards you because you didn't know everything about her? And she acted
she was like, what was? Oh, is that what it was? I remember telling her not to like suck up to her audience so much, and she thought I was.
But she gets lots of. She has a bunch of. I'm not going to say simps because that might be derogatory, but a lot of guys are addicted to sending her lots of money, so that's probably why she does that.
Foreman,
you're just getting a lot of money for turning on your camera.
I asked Foreman one night. He said he sent her $1,000, not all at once, but all together. No offense, Foreman, but. Yeah, so I think you should marry Chuckles because, I mean, I thought you guys were together.
I was watching them one night, and she was just in tears laughing so hard at everything he said, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen for most of us. Not that funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's funny because he does do the thing where he's like, I'm a comedian. And as far as I can tell, he's never done any comedy. But
well, he was gonna do his like 5 minutes, but that got totally derailed, and we started talking about other shit.
Well, he wasn't though. He was just doing crowd work. Like, what do you think about Sam Hill?
There's a chemistry, Jeremy, between you and Chuckles, which is very cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should go for it. What are you doing, Steffi? She's locked in the bathroom.
Yeah, there's this. You ever go on Comedy Night, the app?
No, what's that?
It's like a virtual fake open mic online. And
That's what you should do, Foreman.
Yeah. Yeah, give it a try. It's a lot of people just like saying, a lot of people imitating the Kill Tony crowd of comics, like Casey Rocket. They'll just like say things he says, like real trap
Just like screaming at people and stuff.
shit.
Well,
Tony,
wait,
your
that was
booty
like
hole.
Kinnison and Bobcat Goldthwait were doing that. So
Wait,
I'm
who was
wrong.
screaming? Tony does that?
no, but there was some guy and he was just yelling at
Oh.
some dude.
And
I
William
forget what his
Montgomery,
name
you're
is.
talking about him?
Yeah,
Red hair?
I thought he was funny, but the dude was allegedly another comedian. He said he wanted to kick his ass.
Yes. He said he went into fight or flight mode during his act. Yeah, I think William's really funny. I think if you're like so unaware that you don't know his shtick, maybe if he's standing over you screaming at the top of his lungs, you might think he's legitimately angry. But I really think he's funny. Like he can have bad nights, but when he's good, he's really good. Alex, you ever watch Kill Tony?
No, but I know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't like Tony Hinchcliffe. I think he's really conceited, and I feel like he's only got.
You're obviously jealous, Alec. Obviously jealous.
Yeah, he is gay. He's got the gay. I feel like he's only got any level of success because he's friends with Rogan.
Yeah.
Which is
He
gay.
sits on a gold.
Rogan's not funny. All those
That's
the only funny Rogan orbiter is Tom Segura.
There was Cat Williams made a statement about 6 people. Yeah. I'm sure Hostbusters remembers this.
Oh yeah, Joe Rogan knows 6 people, and none of them are funny.
He's right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people. I wish I could remember the streamers that do it because they do a good job. They always go over. They usually pick Bert Kreischer, bless his heart. He's always the main one they criticize, but they do clips on like
I don't like
how
Bert.
awkward and unfunny the Roganverse people can be. And I guess if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But those people that do those clips, they do a good job.
Are you talking about Comedy Enforcement, Too Lazy to Try, and Podcast?
Yeah. Thank you.
Those are the 3, promoted by Red Bar.
You probably told me about them.
I might have.
But I was watching one where it was Tony Hinchcliffe and Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience, and I can't remember the guy's name now, but he's like a genius 200 IQ chess player guy.
Oh shit! Yes.
Yeah, that was a good clip, and I think it was Comedy Enforcement or whatever. I think he had the clip. It just came out today. That was interesting. But don't you think a lot of times, like if someone's like super, super smart, they don't probably laugh a lot?
They don't laugh a lot?
Because that like suspension of disbelief to go for like a goof or a gag or a guffaw. They're really, really smart. So they're just kind of like,
I feel like you have to be really smart though to be a good stand-up. Like I feel like Dave Chappelle's really smart, and
he is smart.
Eddie Murphy, like the greats.
Okay, yeah. But it just seems like some people that are really smart, they're not just like laughing their asses off at everything.
Well, they're like not in the you're talking about people like Brett, not you, Brett, but what's his name? Weinstein?
Yeah.
Weinstein? Like he's super serious, and like Tim Dillon will make jokes and he'll be like, that just really hit me in the heart. Meanwhile, Tim Dillon was just talking shit. He said why Brett Weinstein is not relevant. Well, he doesn't know shit about science, so why is he taking?
No, his brother's a genius. Eric Weinstein's like super smart, but Brett's like I forget what he teaches, but it's some social science. And then, yeah, he's not that.
The Kevin
He's famous because he was he was a professor at Evergreen State in Olympia, where I used to live in Washington, and he got he got canceled or something. It was a social thing that got him famous and got him on Rogan, and then everybody realized his brother is this like math genius, and he's on like Piers Morgan and all this shit. But yeah, biology. There you go.
Oh yeah. So like he didn't.
Yeah, his brother's a math genius. Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it that he didn't stay home on the day that white people were supposed to stay off?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. There was like a no white people on campus or some shit. And he was like going against that. So there's like a clip that went viral that got him on Rogan. And then that got the Weinsteins in general on there. And then everybody realized like he's kind of a dummy, but his brother's like crazy smart. And like he's all over, the podcast circuit. Eric Weinstein.
Okay. Similar to how
well, he's a math genius, Foreman. Trust me.
The other brother is Eric Weinstein.
Well, Eric is a lot more impressive. That's the point.
Okay.
Like, Eric's actually like the real deal, and Brett's kind of a flash in the pan or whatever. Brett is not smarter than Eric Foreman.
Which one is the one who does a podcast with his wife?
I don't know. Probably Brett.
Okay.
I know his wife is a professor also, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so Eric is probably the one who did the podcast with Terrence Howard.
I don't know. Maybe.
Did you see that episode where Terrence Howard was saying 1 × 1 = 2?
Oh, Terrence. I was thinking of Ron Howard. Yeah, no, I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about. I saw the controversy surrounding it.
See, I would like, because you know about math, I would like your take on it to see if any of the stuff he says is legitimate or if it's all bullshit.
I didn't hear it, but no, from what I understand, like, he's just insane. He's a good actor, but he's like Kanye or something. He's just fucking insane.
Right.
He's not a pseudo intellectual Foreman. Eric is. I think he works at Harvard or something. He's the real deal. He was controversial because of his like Trump takes. But he's been on Piers Morgan and shit. He's definitely smart. Analysis and whatnot is definitely top notch.
I do remember that intellectual dark web. They all thought that was like.
Yeah, it was Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro. I forget who else.
Sam Harris.
Yeah, Sam Harris. Yeah.
And I think Sam Harris was like, "This is fucking lame," and then Joe's like, "Yeah, it is lame. Let's not do this."
Yeah, I mean, it was a label by like the lefties to try to categorize them all.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where it came from.
So
I just think it's odd that Kanye West, how huge he is as a celebrity and a musician and stuff, he's really engrossed with like 2010, 2011 alt-right message board style.
Yeah,
politics.
he just had a rant about the Jews.
Yeah, and it's like, if you've been around for any length of time, you remember people talking about stuff like, maybe not black people, but people talking about stuff like Kanye does now, like many years ago.
Yeah, it was about 2016. Yeah, so what happened was the comedian Pete Davidson, who was Jewish, started dating Kim Kardashian after he broke up with her.
Mm-hmm.
And he like freaked out, and that's when his like Jew hatred arc started.
Oh,
so
shit.
basically he's butthurt about the guy that was fucking his girl.
I didn't even realize that. I was wondering why he got.
I knew he hated Jews. I had no idea that Pete Davidson was Jewish.
Yeah, he is. Apparently, I didn't either. But Davidson's not a Jewish name, but yeah, it should be David's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went, but now, okay. So you said he had a rant on Twitter
Yeah, just like a week ago.
And
You're
then
saying like you got to whip your Jews are your slaves, and it was. And Elon ended up banning him, but he banned him because he started posting all this interracial porn. He's like, this is my favorite porn clip, and he would just post a hardcore porn clip, and that's what got him banned. But prior to that, he had been on this crazy inciting violence against Jews rant, and didn't get him banned. So that's the controversy. I saw it was on Piers Morgan. They did a whole episode about it. That's how I learned about it.
So the controversy was, why wasn't he kicked off anyway?
Right. Why wasn't he kicked off for his Jew rant, inciting hatred and violence? But he was kicked off for the porn.
I thought that was the main no of any kind of social media, is doing anything that would incite violence.
It is. It's supposed to be.
And that's what they claim.
Yeah, that was the whole controversy. That's what it's supposed to be.
I'd rather just worry about wah-wah pedals and stuff like that. You know, just like, I don't really need to be part of like some huge intellectual, whatever, political debate or whatever, because I despise all Jews, but duh. I've said that, I say that every time I go on a stream. Duh. No, but I just think it's weird because it was Hostbusters posted where Kanye was selling swastika t-shirt merch.
Yeah, that was part of
his fucking official website. It's like, dude, that's not cool. That's not. I mean,
he did a Super Bowl ad for his website.
Yeah, right after that. Wasn't it like a day after he announced his new line of swastika t-shirts or something?
Yeah.
I would think that like when you're like that staying wealthy and being more wealthy as time goes by was more important than, because from what Brett's saying, he's pissed off because of a breakup, and that got him into the fashy sort of scene. The Pete Davidson dating Kim Kardashian provoked his
supposedly
whatever.
Pete Davidson has a giant dick. That was another part of it. He's got like a giant dick in his
Kanye was talking about
with his giant Jew dick.
Yeah.
They got him all mad.
Yeah, if you're half Jewish and half black, you probably are going to have just like a monster dick.
I don't think he's part black, is he? That's weird. I don't know.
Oh, Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
I don't know. Wait, Russell,
think
where'd you hear that?
Yeah, where's the part black part?
It's I've heard of that too, and I don't hardly keep up with that kind of stuff. But that's a good rumor to have about you.
That you're part black and you have a giant dick.
That you're just like, that guy's got the biggest dick on earth. It's 12 inches or whatever.
Yeah, that's what they said.
It's gonna be like, that's not true. Stop saying that about me. That's not true.
Kanye said, my wife is out here fucking a white boy with a 10-inch penis and you won't help me.
Exactly.
It's probably just a real.
Supposedly he complained to people about
it. Yo, he's back on Twitter, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah, he's saying all kinds of shit. He said the sun is stealing his spotlight.
He was also defending Diddy and like promoting a domestic violence. He's like, I hit women. He was just, I don't know. He's a piece of shit.
He was what?
Honestly, I think his music sucks. At least his
the alt-right back when I was first became aware of it, which it really was around the time Obama was elected, that there was different message boards and stuff. They used to talk like that, like slap your woman around if she says something, So he's basically like he's using the Wayback Machine or whatever, or like people he's talking to are really behind the times with their memes and stuff, because everything he's been doing is like shit from 2009, 2010.
I'm just looking at like.
You won't eat my wing? No, you're not. No, you're not.
So he's doing all the old racist shit.
Some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, he's not even trying to be modern with his Jew hatred or whatever.
People are
You know,
saying
when
he's really
he first started
addicted.
doing that, I noticed that it was like, yeah, this is typical, like alt-right, circa 2010 stuff.
Yeah, nothing.
Happy birthday.
What up? Birthday
What's up?
boy.
I can't have nothing. Not even chicken duck.
6 of them.
Did you have a good birthday?
Well, you can eat
Yeah,
this.
it was good.
About that.
All
I'm worried about the nugget.
I got my tax return and I got some
Oh, so the other
extra
day.
picks, so I'm happy.
All right.
That's your brother from another mother.
Got a nice refund in your taxes.
Yeah,
You got
got
your
$1,500 back from the government.
Nice.
He does. You both have two different accents.
How did you get? So you're paying taxes now, Foreman? You're working?
Yeah, I had like 2 jobs last year. Guess got a
Dope.
pretty good tax return. But I'm getting paid under the table now, so
Did you hear that Trump is going to give us and Elon are going to give us $5,000 each from
No, that don't happen.
from Doge?
yeah, I saw something. Is that go to what the fuck is with that, Alex? Who actually gets that money? It's not actually
Everyone.
just
It's like the COVID checks. Like anyone who paid taxes last year is going to get a check.
no way.
That's what they're saying. I hope it's true. I want $5,000.
Yeah, I read something about it, but it can't be like they can't afford that, right?
When is this supposed to happen?
They're supposed to find all the government waste and corruption, and then reimburse the American taxpayers by doing a COVID style
Can you
check
imagine, dude? That would be
to
so
everybody that paid
badass.
taxes like last year in 2024.
Can you
Which
imagine
is
just like, dude, if Trump actually did that, he just cuts the entire federal budget and just gives the money back to the people. That would be
oh yeah.
historic.
I mean, I would vote for him or Vance or whoever if they give me $5,000. I mean, I'd vote for him anyway, but
Yeah, but still,
like-
like, dude, that's like
even Wilson would vote
libertarian
for
that's as libertarian as it gets, right? Like the
feel like
guy's
that
a straight
would-
up libertarian, right?
yeah, basically, because libertarians want taxes eliminated. So
Especially
yeah,
with his appointment of Elon Musk. I mean, Trump is obviously a closeted libertarian, right? Not gay.
He's-
I'm saying like he runs as a Republican because that's what
Well,
gets him the vote.
Republicans are all about small government and anti-tax. So I don't know that it goes
Well,
in the
Republicans
libertarian
nowadays are all about.
package.
They're not like the whole thing about libertarians is that they are the true Republicans. These
Right.
Republicans went off the deep end and they spent all this money on war and all this gay shit.
Yeah,
Libertarianism is really just a callback to being a Republican.
Libertarians are mostly isolationists when it comes to foreign policy and anti-tax. So
Yeah, it's called non-intervention. It's not isolationism. It's non-interventionism. It's just we
Well,
don't
what's the
get involved
difference?
in.
right, same
Yeah,
thing.
We don't get involved.
Because no one's going to
Oh, like
invade.
Switzerland, right?
Yeah, more or less. Well, it's basically if no one's fucking with us, we don't fuck with them. So it's kind of ice. It's both. It's both because all of our foreign wars have been interventionism, and
Yes, proxy
There's no
wars. We
defense.
don't fight for.
nobody's attacked us since
There's no
1812.
defense. Yeah, there's no defensive. It's all about just promoting people
Yeah.
that we like, and it's it's not American at all. It's just economic. Well, the whole thing is like it's all economics. So we got a bunch of players in the Middle East that hold a lot of power. We suck up to them. They turn on us, and then we just kill them all.
Well, like Israel,
No, I'm talking about Afghanistan.
All the Arabs.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Russia has a lot over us. Supposedly, they have like all these pictures of Epstein parties and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no. There's no question that the elites in America are evil. But there's no, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why we don't give them power. I mean, yeah, that's not really exposing the rich people in our country. Like, Russia would be better off exposing politicians in our country. Just because we house pedophiles. I mean, yeah, it's something that we do in America, but like, if they really want to destroy our system, then they have to go after the politicians. So you got to look at people like Chuck Schumer. Yeah, that dude's definitely a pedophile. Anyways.
Well, why do you say that? What is that based on?
His
Just
face.
the way
He's got a pedophile face.
The way he
Yeah,
looks?
it's just the phenotype. It's the whole like he's like when he looks. It's like Joe Biden when he sees someone that's young, he gets all excited, and you can see it. You see them like kind of light up when they see someone who's young.
Oh, I thought phenotypes was like skull measurements and shit.
Phenotype is the physical expression of a genotype. So your genes expressed. The phenotype is the expression of a gene.
It's basically when someone says that guy looks Jewish, that's what it is.
Yeah, so the phenotype
So he
is
looks like a pedophile?
Yeah, well, Jews, I mean, come on. They all kind of, not all of them, but they're kind of, it's just the whole like effeminate male. A lot of Jewish men are kind of effeminate, and it makes them seem like pedophiles. I don't really think that's like, obviously it's not fair.
So you're saying if you look like a Jew, you're most likely a pedophile.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
That's interesting.
Nah, you know what I'm saying.
Woody
Though. It's
Allen.
like it's more of like it's the it's like the misdirected, like, so they come from a matriarchy, right? And when men serve women like that, it's like Catholics and the Virgin Mary. They get called pedophiles because they cuck to women. And then when they give women all this power, women will automatically call men pedophiles if they get, if they give them the power. It's like Catholics.
That's the logical next step of a woman.
I'm drunk right now. I know. But honestly, like the matriarchy, you give women power, they just start calling men pedophiles.
Now, why is that the move that you would think they would make, and not like just say that men are inferior to women or something?
Well, because that doesn't give them anything. Like, you have to go to the absolute worst thing in order to get results. So women know the only way that they get power is to absolutely destroy men. Call a man a pedophile and it's over. You don't have to have evidence. Call a man a pedophile and you have all the power as a woman.
And is this something?
I have a song for Jeremy's birthday.
Oh.
We could try the musical interlude part right now.
Play it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me make sure I'm loud enough for everything.
The fuck?
Okay, tell me if y'all can hear this or not. Did y'all hear that?
You're playing now?
All right, this is for Jeremy's birthday. This is a song called Astronomy Domine by Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, we'll turn it up a little bit more.
Hit that D string. Yeah, down to B.
Breaking the second scene from the fight between the blue humans.
Yeah, Russell gets it. I wish I could hear it. Russell, it's not coming through, but I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, can you pull that closer to the mic?
It's like guitar through a phone mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. I used to play guitar through my phone, and this is exactly what it sounded like. He's hitting all the right notes. That's the thing. If you know the song Astronomy-Dopamine, he's killing it.
Okay, let me do it.
Yeah. Psychedelic.
Happy birthday, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks, Russell.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now I gotta learn that song.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it like kind of an interactive show where I'm gonna show Hostbusters how to play some stuff on guitar. So I could do it. Like I remember figuring out Astronomy Domine when I was really young, and after like 30
Yeah, that's one of
years,
them.
you finally figure it out. You're like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this now.
But that is like Sid Barrett quintessential.
Yeah, I actually learned from the I play a hodgepodge of the Sid Barrett version from Piper at the Gates of Dawn and the David Gilmour live version from Ummagumma. I realized that the other day when I was listening to him. I was like, okay, I learned a little bit from both versions and kind of made a casserole out of them.
Yeah.
Right.
You talk about it a lot.
Ummagumma, yeah, the live side of Ummagumma. The first record is great. The second record, it's not the best stuff on earth.
Yeah. No, the original psychedelic sound that Sid Barrett brought was. What was
Yeah,
the
it's
different
like you got to use reverb and echo for a lot of that stuff because it was just swimming. And what I want to get one day is a tape echo because that's what they were using back then.
Yeah.
What is
That's
it?
why
I
they
know
have
you
to
will
pay.
get taken down if you try to play Pink Floyd live at Pompeii. You'll get taken down. I tried it as an intro once.
I
Oh,
played
that
Live
is
at
such a
Pompeii
good
earlier today on
movie.
my stream.
That is such a
I
gear porn movie too. The high watt
oh dude.
heads with the WEM cabinets, with Pink Floyd
Well, Live at
London
Pompeii
stencil. There's a
was
Beastie
I mean
Boys video
it's
where they
arguably
have
the
the same
best
gear.
that's like the best musical documentary that was ever produced though. I mean, anybody that like is familiar with Live at Pompeii, even though they kind of overdid it, yeah, you stack up a bunch of Marshalls in the Coliseum, it's like overkill, but dude, that intro echoes like that
Mhm.
slow zoom into the Coliseum. There was like, yeah, nothing else compared to it at the time. Like you had
It's
the
almost
Beatles.
like parts of it are filmed like a weird horror movie too.
That's what I loved about it, dude. They like cut in and out from like the volcano and the like broken, like the statues that were dismantled through the volcanic eruption. They did a great job of like not just splicing volcanic activity throughout that video, but just that like immediate sense of like death. Like Come In Number 51, that song, how they spliced it with the Pompeii, I don't know, the ashes, I don't know how you would say it, like the rubble. Like, dude, that shit was so brilliant. And you never saw anything like that before that actually happened. Nowadays, you got a bunch of people, imitating it and whatever, but Live at Pompeii was probably the most iconic musical documentary, and just in terms of like production. Anyways, I'm drunk right now, so I'm a little
Okay.
excited.
Sam, I
Well, no,
don't care.
you sounded fine.
Yeah, I saw a
Pompeii.
good documentary with Gilmore explaining how he made all the sounds in various songs and showing all his equipment. I don't remember what it was called, but it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, the
It was
one
like
that they
he's
released.
really
He lives in. Is that the houseboat documentary where he's got like this entire music studio in a houseboat?
I don't know where it was because it was all filmed inside, but he was in his studio and he was showing like the weird little things that he made, like what was it? Fucking. I mean, I can't
The
remember
lap
the-
steel parts on Breathe. They're
Yeah, it wasn't just guitar stuff. It was
Yeah, the
like
synthetic.
it was this
Yeah,
little box fucking from like
He's
the
one of
70s.
the best. He's one of my favorites of all time.
oh yeah. In
Because he
terms of like
doesn't
Yeah,
he doesn't
Gilmore's
play
awesome.
experimental
fast for no
guitar, yeah.
reason.
I honestly prefer Gilmore to Waters. Like I saw him in '93.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
90, yeah, '93 at Giant Stadium doing the Division Bell tour, and he's the shit.
David
Yeah.
Gilmour was like the soul of Pink Floyd. After Sid
Yeah.
Barrett, once they picked up David Gilmour, he was like the soul. Granted, Roger Waters did a lot of the writing, but dude,
Right.
David Gilmour.
Gilmore's
the
voice is just
execution.
as good, if not better, and his guitar playing is just
way better. David Gilmour has like the voice of a god.
Yeah,
Only,
he's a
like-
great singer too. Which
Yeah,
is
the thing,
cool
like-
to be a really good guitar player and a really good singer together.
Yeah. And the great
Yeah.
thing about David Gilmour was he wasn't like he just didn't like being the center of attention. Roger Waters was like the narcissist who he needed
Yeah.
all of the credit. He needed to be the star, even though he was the bass player. David Gilmour was just the shit. Roger Waters was always jealous of David Gilmour for being just like, dude, the guy was just a rock god.
Yeah.
Like David Gilmour was in that realm of like Hendrix and all those other guys. And I think Roger
there's something
Waters
to be
really
said for like the
Gilmour for
lyrics,
having it.
the lyrics writing of Waters, but I really like fucking Momentary Lapse and the Division Bell. They're both really good albums. They're not as good
Yeah,
as
Take
the
It
other
Back is
Oh,
a
yeah.
great song. I love that
Yeah,
song.
even just like Marooned, just like a straight instrumental
Yeah.
by David Gilmour, where he's just like going off on the guitar like he's playing a saxophone. Like that shit is
Yeah.
unmatched. Slow, smooth, and just sexy. David Gilmour on the guitar was, yeah, like I don't know, dude. It's hard to explain because he's not technical, but he sounded the best. Like if you
Well,
compare him to
guitar
Jimi
player, but I
Hendrix,
know he does all the bends, like the
yeah, he's a bend guy, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
but he's
That
not like
gets
overly
pretty
technical.
doing all those bends and hitting the right notes and stuff.
So what does that
Yeah.
mean, a bend?
Seems like it would
Well,
be
that's
the
a soul.
Is that when
Yeah.
you bend the strings?
Yeah, you bend it up another note, so you can take it a half measure or full measure. David Gilmour, especially with "Wish You Were Here," he can bend a string to the perfect, like. For me
Yeah,
personally, I have a really hard time bending too far. David Gilmour was great at like bending right into tune, right away.
right.
Well, that's
And
because he picked
what Radio Shaman says is correct. Buckethead could play the notes in between notes perfectly, and he'd like hit each. I don't know what you call that, micro tuning or something. But he'd hit the notes in between notes, and he's fucking
Yeah,
amazing.
syncopation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Syncopating
what's
notes.
cool about slide is you can hit all those in between notes.
That's what's cool about guitar in general, as opposed to like piano, is that you can do shit like that if you're talented enough. It's like there's no upper limit to how good you can be. You can get that good.
Yeah, David Gilmour was I would almost say he's probably the best guitarist of all time, but you can't think in terms of technicality, but just the aesthetic.
Mm.
Shine On You Crazy Diamond is another perfect example. That intro solo that Gilmour does, it's slow, smooth, and it's just I don't know, it's perfect. Like the guy knows how to play guitar, not to impress, but to make you feel something. So I appreciate that. Like Jimi Hendrix was overly technical, even though he killed it on the blues. David Gilmour took the guitar and just really focused on the aesthetics. I don't know.
I know what
Once
you.
again,
I hear.
I'm
What
drunk.
I know what you're saying.
What are the aesthetics? See, there's a lot of shit I don't know. What does that mean exactly?
You're
It means
super
like
low.
the overall emotional response. So instead of focusing on being overly technical and impressive, he really focused on how people would react to the music. So what kind of emotional response is this kind of music gonna? And Roger Waters was also on point with that. but it's all about the experience. And a lot of musicians try to be like overly technical to show off, but it also impedes on the aesthetic because, like with art, it's all about conveying an emotion. So instead of showing off like a technical guitarist, David Gilmour was about creating a sound that was aesthetic and
So it's
appealing.
more
So
style over technical ability.
yeah, so
Your
it's just
volume's
not
really
showing
low,
off.
Ghostbusters.
Right. What?
Yeah, it's about creating a sound and not like showing off.
Okay.
A lot of guitarists were like built up to be virtuosos, but nobody really liked to listen to that. Like it's fun watching some guy shred on a guitar, but it doesn't sound as good as
Like a
somebody
whole
just playing.
40-minute album of just a bunch of instrumental shred tracks.
Yeah, like it's
Like
fun. Like you can appreciate the technicality, but at the end of the day, music is about creating and conveying a certain feeling. And that's what Pink Floyd was about. It's about the feeling it's about the experience. So when you listen to them, what kind of experience do you have? It's not about appreciating how like technical or talented they are. It's about the sound and how the sound makes you feel. So it's just
Right.
like straight up art
Right.
instead
That
of
makes
like,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Like those.
it goes in and out of style too. Because when I first started playing guitar, shredding was really popular. Then just like a couple years later, grunge came in, and a lot of that
Yeah.
was like anti playing solos. Period.
It
Like
was just
punk
bar
kind of was.
chords.
White
Yeah.
Yeah,
noise.
Bar chords.
and
Dirty
now it
bar
seems like
chords.
shredding is big again, and has been for a while. But it's weird how that stuff goes in and out of style.
Yeah. It all
I
depends
feel
on
like
who's experiencing it. If you're playing to a crowd that's looking for, you know, guitar, like if you're a guitarist watching another guitarist, yeah, you're gonna kind of look for some technicality. But as a just general novice viewer,
Yeah, like Radio
that it
Shaman
doesn't
says
matter.
that it's really hard to remember that. It's not the notes you play, it's the notes you don't play. Miles Davis, who I love. I'm a big Miles Davis fan. Yeah, a lot of times you're like, you want people to think you're good, right? Or you wouldn't really be playing music. But then you're like, well, do I need to like this song has vocals and stuff. Do I need to really take like a 10-minute solo playing as fast as I can
Right.
to find I don't know. It's weird. It's like you almost like when you go to play a solo, you're like, okay, should I mean, I don't want people to think I suck, but I don't want to just keep sweep picking the same lick or alternate
Right.
picking
Yeah.
the
You kind of
same
got to
lick
prove
over and
yourself
over
at some
again.
point. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
Okay.
Like, I think every guitarist struggles with that, where it's like you do want to sound good. You
Yeah.
also need to prove that you're a good guitarist, which is a different ball game in and of itself. So being a virtuoso is different than being. It's like comparing the Romanticism to the Baroque period. Baroque period was all about, like Bach. It was all technical. It was all mathematical. But
Yeah,
then
you were
people kind
talking
of
about
like,
that the other night. That's
yeah, people got
interesting to
sick of
think
it.
of.
People got sick of it, and then you got Beethoven, who's just like, let's create some melody that's just emotional.
Yeah, that
Let's
shit
just be
doesn't
as
sound
emotional
like
as possible. Fuck the
the
technicality.
what is that with the Fueg, or you know what I'm talking about? What's that called? Fuge, Fu.
Fugue?
How do you spell it?
A
Like
fugue?
what Mozart? Yeah, fugue. Like that's like super technical, and it's all about um like a loop. Like you go up, and then it naturally comes back around, and um
Yeah, home key, tonic key. Yeah,
it's like a, what do you call it? Like a self-referencing loop, and but it's really technical and hard to do, and that's what Mozart in particular tried to do. But then it doesn't necessarily sound the best. Like sometimes the simple shit just sounds better. It is more, you know, grabbing you
yeah,
emotionally, and so yeah, it's a balance between, like you said, it's a balance between the technical skill and still being able to find something that appeals to the masses.
Hey, you gotta be an artist at the end of the day. Art is all about conveying emotions, and as good as you are at like shredding,
Yeah,
you're still creating an art which should elicit a certain emotional reaction, and you gotta have that in mind as an artist. So, like, what are you trying to create? I mean, if all
yeah. I
you're
mean,
doing
if
is
it
just
was,
trying to impress people, like with the whole like Mozart thing, Mozart was a prodigy, they say,
mm,
and then Mozart kind of delved into romanticism, and then Beethoven took what he did and bridged the gap between technicality, and then brought us into the like 19th century romanticism.
actually, I was confusing
So
Mozart
Okay.
for Bach. Bach was the how do you say that F word? Foie guy. Foie
Baroque.
guy.
Bach was
Yeah.
before Mozart. Bach was 1600s Baroque period. Bach was what we call definitely
So that's
mathematical.
when like the harpsichord was the main instrument before the piano, right?
Yeah. Well, harpsichord was a little
Yeah.
before that, but yeah,
Is that
Bach.
like a piano?
Bach was very technical, and then Mozart came around and bridged between technicality and like being a romanticist, and then
Yeah.
Beethoven solidified romanticism, and then you had people
Right.
like Wagner and other romanticists, Johann Brahms, that really Tchaikovsky's a perfect example. They took what Mozart
Tchaikovsky.
did and made it very emotional,
Mm.
um, but they took out the technicality because Mozart was like Michael Jackson. His dad raised him to be a prodigy, so Mozart was always trying to be like the best. But you took somebody like Beethoven, who was really gifted, but was more of like Beethoven was very emotional as an individual, and that's what led the way to the Romanticism. Mozart had a dad that was essentially Mozart's dad wouldn't really let him be kind of an artist. It was all about like being the next Bach. But
Oh, so
anyways,
he
yeah,
got
that's
him
all.
into music. He like got him into the whole thing and
Yeah,
directed
Mozart
him.
was he was a child prodigy, which means his parents got him into music at a super young age and wanted him to be the best. So by the age of
Mm.
3, he was already composing music, which only happens if your parents are complete assholes
Yeah.
and they like, try to force you into something. But yeah, no, Mozart was set up to be a genius because his parents were complete assholes.
He's like the Niger Houston of music.
Exactly. Yeah. His parents were living vicariously through him. It was really
Wow.
fucked up, but hey, it worked out, I guess.
Yeah. But wait, Mozart, is he the one who was deaf at a certain point?
No, that was Beethoven.
Oh, that was Beethoven. Never mind.
Yeah, no, Mozart was this prodigy, super genius because his parents put him on a piano when he was 1 years old. And yeah, it was one of those things. Beethoven was the one that was like emotionally disturbed and brought along all this like the kind of darkness that was kind of inappropriate. Like it was kind of inappropriate to play certain chords, like minor chords and certain. Yeah, it was just. I guess the culture was different back then, but Romanticism brought in a whole new. Yeah, it's just instead of being technical, it was all about being emotional.
Yeah.
So
So it was inappropriate. Like it was like frowned upon.
yeah, so it's like if you open up like a hymn book to any church, there are certain chords that they like. You won't see any minor chords
I couldn't hear
because
anyone. Sorry about that.
Oh.
yeah. So back in the day, like it was framed upon to play like an E minor because it was too depressing. But then the Romanticism period came along and they started experimenting with like not just minor chords but like sharps, flats, and syncopation was a big part of it. Like jazz in the early 20th century, jazz experimented with a lot of syncopation, which is just hitting the notes that you're not supposed to kind of create a little bit of confusion. Um, but they started experimenting in the early 20th century. You had like Wagner who was doing I don't know, like Vivaldi was another one. There, Four Seasons was like it wasn't technical, but it was all about just being emotional. I think I'm on a loop now, so I'll shut up.
Uh, One of the great anti-Semites. Isn't that what the guy said?
Wagner?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wagner
Curb Your
probably. Yeah,
Enthusiasm.
I never watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. It was like
Oh, that was
Seinfeld.
like a big thing about how Wagner, Larry was like a self-hating Jew because he listened to Wagner. I
Wagner's
guess
good.
Wagner was German. I guess
Yeah,
something like it. Yeah.
yeah. Wagner with the W. That's definitely German.
Yeah. Well, what was his music like? It was like orchestral or.
Yeah, so Wagner was a part of the Romantic period. It was just a lot of emotional music. So instead of having like short technical melodic lines, it was long-winded. A lot of, I won't say syncopation, but um, like certain notes that seem like minor notes, like notes that make you feel depressed, and then they go back to like a major note to bring it back. But it was more like more of an experience, like an emotional experience, instead of being impressive and, like I said, technical. Wagner
Right.
was like Vivaldi. They just went into long-witted emotional pieces, and yeah, romanticism.
So other music was considered non-emotional because it's
Not
all
other
like.
music, but previous music. It was
Okay.
like the Baroque period was all about mathematics.
Okay.
And then they kind of went, because it was like so impressive that somebody could do so many melodic lines that harmonized. And then they got bored of the
When did it get
technicality.
to
And
like the Because talking about Brett would like this, that tempered tuning, the well-tempered clavinet, and that era
yeah,
of actually tuning mathematically, which would sound kind of like an out of tune
Well, that's what they
instrument
do
to us
now.
now.
The 12 tempered tuning is what like what we use, like the modern like 440 A note and all that shit. But yeah, it's like you can. There's all these different tunings from throughout history that they used, and that's just sort of the Western. I think it's called 12 tempered. It's based on like root 12 mathematically.
Yeah,
Um,
in Western music, you only have to worry about 12 notes.
yep.
yeah,
Mm.
but you could split it up into anything. That's the whole point. It's like it could split up into 24, and that's what I was talking about Buckethead before. He hits those notes in between, and stringed instruments and other continuous instruments like
Analog. Yeah.
horns and I mean pretty much the only discrete ones are like piano, anything that's got like certain keys that you play. I guess probably a flute and stuff. I don't know. There is some wind instruments that are continuous like that, but definitely all the stringed instruments are.
So how do
And,
you know so
Yeah.
much about instruments and you don't play them? That's kind of
me,
interesting to me. Yeah.
I used to make music on the computer and learned a lot about theory from that. And yeah, I don't know. I was just interested in it, so I learned a lot.
What do
And
you
the
use
connection
for?
between math and music is interesting to me, so that kind of drew me in. But
Okay.
yeah, I wish I had the technical skill to play, particularly or something. That would be cool. I mean, I can play piano okay, but
Oh,
nothing
that's
special.
right. You said you played piano.
But sort of, yeah, like shittily. Yeah.
Did you take lessons or like?
No, no. Like just when I was learning on the computer, I would play like a MIDI. I have a little 2-octave MIDI keyboard, and so and at one point I
Oh,
had a 5-octave keyboard, and I would
so
play that
that's
a
how you
little.
did it on the computer, like with the
Yeah. So
music.
mostly it was just like melodies, like one hand. What melodies? Not like two hand. Like normally a piano player would play like the harmony with their left hand, and then the
Yeah, the
melody.
bass.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You play your chords with your left hand and your melodies with your right hand, and I would just do one or the other. So that's why I'm saying I'm not good. That's Steffi snoring, Tony. She's fucking passed out.
Yeah, no, I learned piano from I got this like a laminated sheet of paper that had all the chords,
Mm-hmm.
So I would just get really stoned and just look at this laminated sheet that had all the chords. So I know all the chords on piano, like majors, minors, things like that. I could play blues on piano. I learned some of like Beethoven. I did learn Moonlight Sonata. I don't think I can play it anymore, but
Yeah, the thing about piano versus guitar, it's like you can just jump into piano. You don't need like, it's not that hard to press keys down, right? But to actually
it's very
play the
straightforward. Yeah,
guitar,
piano is very straightforward. Yeah,
right? Exactly. Like guitar requires this technical skill that you can't just jump into immediately. It takes a long time to develop.
yeah, you got to build up that
Um,
muscle memory and all that shit.
Yeah, it's just it's a whole different thing. So I've always been kind of jealous of that, but haven't really invested the time to do it.
Yeah.
When did you last play then, Alex?
Yeah, it's been a while. Probably 2021. I did it I did it like a lot. It was like my main hobby until about 2021, and then I haven't really done it much. I've jumped into it a couple times for like a few days, like, oh, I'm going to get back into this, and then I just get bored, and now I just do.
Well, you said it was your main hobby for a while. What songs can you play? Like, what's the one song you go to if you're gonna play for somebody?
Well, I would learn like the chord progressions of certain songs. Man, just like I like any whatever certain pop songs that were familiar at the time. I wouldn't like try to. It wasn't like I delve into the songs that I like and try to play them necessarily. Like I don't know, like Pink Floyd or something like that. Like it was. I don't even know. I learned how to play Hurt, 9 Inch Nails. I learned how to play. I'm just talking about the chord progressions, not the melodies.
I used to be able to play Grey Gig in the Sky. Grey Gig in the Sky, Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
I think you
Mr.
could probably
Bright,
still play it on piano.
that. Like the killer.
That was one that I went for, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I learned a lot of songs on piano that I just forgot, like Fur Elise, Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah, I would just look a lot. I would look around with a
Comfortably.
lot of like, what is it? 1, 4, 5, 6 progressions. You know, like the common 4-chord progression, and just fuck around and make up my own shit. I did a remix of Dead Mouse Strobe once, which is kind of complex. It's like based on counterpoint, so there isn't really chords.
So you can play all the chords then, right? So if I like told you to play a D chord, you know what to do.
Well, okay, so I know that like intervals and shit. So if you like play a D minor, yeah, I would know what to do, or D major, like the more common ones. But if you got into like anything more esoteric than the basic major and minor, and I'm talking like natural minor,
Right, yeah, like diminished and all that stuff. Yeah, no.
yeah, diminished is more advanced. Yeah, like I mean, I know
on the piano, I know all the majors and minors, but yeah, anything beyond that, I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
but you can play blues then.
No, you can just Google chords if you don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. Like, not even that. Like in the DAWs, like I had Fruity Loop or FL Studio Fruity Loops. There's this feature where in the piano roll you click like you put it in a certain key, and then it will just highlight what notes are in that key. So then you can easily figure out like, okay, if I skip a note here, then like 1, skip a note 2, skip a note 3, then that's a chord, etc. And so I would just. I would do that and like have that as like a guide and just fuck around.
Yeah.
But
well, especially with blues, you can just go from the 3rd to the 5th, and I mean, really, all you gotta do is go 3rd to the 5th, and you're playing blues. But
yeah, they'd have like blues scales and shit. Like they had quite a lot. It was a good way to learn about like music theory in general. But there's the thing, I never like. Don't like. I mean, yeah, piano a little bit because piano is what you use to mess with any kind of computer music. It's going to be keyboard based, but because that's what like you're using a MIDI controller, and MIDI controllers they do actually have them for guitar and like stringed instruments, but the common ones were little keyboards. Like I said, I had a 2-octave Oxygen 49, whatever was that brand? I don't even remember. M Audio, that kind of shit, and so yeah, it was like trying to make mostly electronic music, like EDM kind of shit, which is why I still like that kind of music. But
Oh.
Electronic dance music. Interesting.
So
well, not necessarily dance, but electronic. Yeah.
Yeah.
now, did you use what did you use did you use like GarageBand or FL Studio?
FL Studio. I got so the thing about FL Studio has free upgrades for life. So I bought it in 2006, and then there was just whenever I would get back into it periodically every few years, and then you could always just download the latest version. Where if you got like Ableton or Logic or Pro Tools or whatever, you'd have to like buy the new version. So
Okay.
because it was FL Studio and it's free upgrade for life, I could just always download the latest version. Plus, it was easy to use. It was I don't know. I just got used to that particular DAW, so that's what I was used to. And yeah,
Now,
I would say
do you have you saved a lot of tracks? Like, do you have your songs? Like,
they're on my like Google Drive, but yeah, not. I don't have FL Studio installed on my current laptop. I bought this laptop like a year ago, and I haven't been into music since I got this laptop, so I haven't downloaded. But I own a lot of software. Like there's a whole bunch of VST instruments I own. Like I have the Arturia. What is it? It's like a collection of Arturia synths. They make like emulations of famous synthesizers like the Mini Moog, the Moog Modular, ARP 2600, DX7. What else? I forget. But just a ton of that kind of shit. And I have a couple popular modular synths like Phase Plant. God, what was the other ones? I don't even remember. I have the one that Steve Duda made, Theorem. And then like various drum machines and stuff like that. But my whole thing was I wanted to learn like sound design, so I never used samplers. I would make an empty patch, so like a blank starting point on a synthesizer, and then try to learn how to make all the various sounds from scratch just using a synthesizer. That's what I wanted to like be able to do. So I was more focused on that than completing like tracks. So, like a lot of electronic artists will use like sample packs or just use presets on synthesizers and things like that, and focus on getting a track
fuck
out.
that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, where I was interested in learning how do you make that sound, you know? And so that's where my focus was. And in the process, I made a few tracks, but it was I never got beyond like maybe the intermediate level, I would say. And definitely as far as my ability to play, I was all right. Like towards the end, again, I'm just doing like one-handed melodies on one pass through, and then I might do the chords on another, but I wasn't doing both at the same time. And originally I'd either quantize it or just go in and fix the notes myself, dragging them around with the mouse. But towards the end, I was getting pretty good. My timing was good where I wouldn't even have to do that. But I'm definitely not a good player by any means.
So you're saying you would arrange it on the
Right.
computer?
So like
play?
So you could get the notes into the piano roll like by just drawing them in, or you can play them in. And so I would play them in originally pretty poorly, and then I would go and fix them up by dragging them back in time, like lining up with the timing to get the timing correct. Or you can use this feature called Quantize, where it would do it for you, like fix like things that were out of time. Towards the end of that, like late when I was doing it, I was getting good enough where I usually didn't have to do that or not have to do it much. But I would never claim to be like a good piano player that could just sit down and play a piano and sing and like do it all at once. That's a real impressive skill.
But all right, let's say you started doing it again though. Is it like riding a bike? Like, does it just come back?
Yeah, well, that's what I always did. So I started in 2006. I did it for like a year, and then I didn't do it again until like, I don't know, 2010, 2011. Then I got really into it for like 2 years.
Okay.
And then I didn't do it for a few years. Then I got really into it for like another 2-year period from like 28, maybe like 2 or 3 year period, 2018 to 2021 roughly. And I learned a lot in that time period. But again, I was always focused on sound design. And I always wanted to be able to make things from scratch with a synthesizer. So I'd make all my drums. Like most people would grab drum samples and make them, but I would
Yeah, you
make
don't
them.
want to do that. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I would make
Yeah,
them from
definitely
scratch.
go. Yeah, go from scratch if you can.
So I still remember how to make a kick drum, a snare drum, hi hat, claps using synthesizers, and also most of the basic bass sounds you would hear in like electronic music. A decent amount of the melodic sounds you would hear in electronic music. And then occasionally I would use like string samples. Like that's the only samples I would ever use is like strings usually. But then I learned how to program strings to a certain extent, but they never really sound as good as like samples.
What does that mean? Samples versus.
So samples is just recording. You're just so it's recorded. So professionals would play like what do you call it? Like studio musicians would play professionally, and they would record individual notes or individual loops, and then they would put them out as sample packs, and then you would use what's called a sampler to trigger these notes, and you could use those in your music. So if you wanted like a string section, you don't have to know how to play violin. You would just either buy or download for free. I usually download it for free. These things called sample packs, and use those. But I never wanted to use those primarily, so that's what I'm saying. I like wanted to program as many sounds as I could from scratch with a synthesizer, and that was my main goal, to learn how to do that. And then I was always like, okay, then I'll learn, more about arrangement and mixing and all that. And yeah, I would say I was probably at like an intermediate level as far as that kind of shit goes. Like when I stopped. But I haven't done it since 2021. If I wanted to get back into it, I still remember it a lot. I don't think it would take that long, but my hobby lately has been coding, so I've been into that. And I did briefly do. There's this programming language called Chuck, which is it's a way of composing music through code, through programming.
Really?
Yeah, I got into that briefly too. It's like totally different from the other stuff, but I had a brief little foray into that. But that was, again, it was like 2019, something like that. It was a while ago.
But that's a newer thing? This music through language? Programming language?
It's been around for a while. They have there's a thing called Super Collider. That's another one. I never got into that, but I know that exists. It's a similar thing where you program using code. And I don't mean like you're using code as in making virtual instruments. That's another thing you can do. But this is actually triggering your sound card directly and telling it like what pitches to play, and you'd figure out like, okay, like when I was talking to Russ about like the 12 what's it called, something temperate, I don't even remember anymore, something temperate tuning. Like you'd figure out like, okay, all I have the ability to do is say play this specific frequency. Then you'd have to go from there and figure out, okay, if I want to create something that's in like the way that a piano works, or any kind of modern instruments, you'd have to like do the math to figure out how to encode those frequencies into a certain like data structure or whatever you're doing coding.
Okay.
So it's always been a computer-based approach to it. I've never just picked up an instrument and played.
So
but-
is that what you meant by that there's a math side of it?
Well, so math is behind music theory. Like it's all based on math. It's like
Further math.
it's like if you play a G note and you want, so a G note's like 49 hertz roughly. It's 49 hertz exactly is a low G note. So if you want to play one octave up another G, you just multiply that by 2. So it'd be 98 hertz is also a G note, and then you multiply that by 2. 196, that's another G note, etc. So math like underlies music theory in general. That's why.
That's why you got like the third, the fifth. That's why it's all numbered out.
Right, exactly. So like the most pleasant interval to our ears is a fifth. It's like you play a C and a G together. That's a fifth, and it's just something about that frequency appeals universally to humans and always has.
Universal to all people. That sounds the best.
Yeah, I would say most people.
But yeah, it's.
I mean, there's some subjectivity to it, but I would say like a fifth is probably the most pleasant interval. An octave and a fifth is probably the most pleasant interval, and then like a sixth and a fourth is very pleasant too. If you play like a C and a D, it's quite dissonant, meaning doesn't sound that good. But you want to mix. You don't just want sounds that are always, as they call, consonant. Like a fifth is consonant, meaning it sounds pleasant. You want to like mix them in, and that gives this tension in music. That is what we
Yeah, that's
find.
what we call it. Yeah, the dissonance, the syncopation.
Yeah,
It's all about that. Yeah, you got to kind of like make people feel disarrayed, and then you bring them back with the fifth chord,
Right.
and it's all about like accomplishing a feeling from another feeling.
Like you would describe like a second interval as like uneasy. It feels weird, and then you bring it back. It's like a calming thing to go back to a fifth. It's like
exactly, and that's the whole point of the progression is to go outside of your bounds and then come back home. The whole like concept of the home key is you start off.
The home key is they call that resolution. So if you go
exactly,
it's like it's this feeling of, oh, we're out on this thing that's making me feel uneasy, but then it comes back to where you feel comfortable.
Yeah, so that's the tonic key versus the home key. So like it's all about the experience, but dissonance is a big part of that experience. I got to drop off panel though. Thanks HB for having me up. Good times. I got some people calling me, so I got to go attend to that. But yeah, you guys take it easy.
Bitches. Later, man.
Cheers.
Wow. So there's a lot to this stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Dissonance. Now, did you ever hear about how they said like there's so you said that human ears, there's certain sounds that basically everyone sounds good to everyone. Mm-hmm. So would a measurement of someone's mental illness or mental unbalance be that they don't find that appealing? Like, are there certain people who don't find it appealing and that's probably a problem with their brain?
I don't think so. I think that it's sort of a universal. I think even a crazy person would be calmed by certain intervals played on a piano, like certain chords. So yeah, it's just you hear about like 4-chord rock, right? It's like that's generally what you call like a 1, 4, 5, 6 progression, meaning like the fifth is the most pleasant, and you get slightly away from that playing a 6 or a 4, and that's why most pop music is based on that, because it's just sort of universally appealing. It's very simple, and more technical musicians will try to get away from that, like your Steely Dan's or whatever. But if you go, there's certain progressions that are used over and over and over again because they're just sort of universally appealing.
Okay. Now, is that similar to the whole idea that like there's certain notes you play and water will react to it positively or negatively? Is that the same idea? You heard of that?
Yeah. Well, so if you fill glasses with certain amounts of water and you hit them with a tuning fork or anything, it will ring out at a certain frequency. And that's kind of the same idea. It's like based on, I don't even know how that would work with water, but it's based on certain amounts of it causing different frequencies, and then some of them are more appealing to us than others.
So it would be the same with the water, like the water would react in a positive or negative way?
Yeah. So if you had a glass filled with different levels of water, it would be different. Yeah.
But what does that mean, like positive reaction and versus negative? You know what I mean? Like,
well, so like I said, certain intervals are going to sound better to us. So I don't know how you do it with water,
it's going to sound better. Okay.
With a guitar string, like if you play like like I said, a C note followed by a G note, you're going up 1/5 up the scale. And that interval is almost universally appealing. It's very pleasant. Where if you go up just one note up, like you go from a C to a D, it's like dissonant. It creates this uneasiness, this sort of tension, this unpleasantness. But you don't just want to stick to the ones that are pleasant. You want to kind of mix them up and create this this tension that you then get away from, and that's what we like to hear as humans.
The relief from the tension.
Yeah, exactly. It
Right.
creates a sense of like tension, which is then relieved, and that's what we like. But pop music tends to stick to the 4 chord progressions, because they just always sound good.
Okay. Okay, so there's like a formula to that, or it's just for
Well, it's not really a formula, but it's sort of a way of doing. It's like, well, yeah, it is formulaic as far as the 4 chord rock. Yeah, that is actually.
what about what they say about punk music, that it's like very simple? Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know much about punk, but yeah, that's what I hear. It's like
Okay.
the whole idea of punk originally was like, we're not professional musicians, we're just playing from the heart, and this is what we come up with. Like fucking Sid Vicious didn't even know how to play. I don't know if he played guitar or bass. I'm not even sure. But like, yeah, it was sort of like the music of the people that aren't professional musicians. That was the original idea of it. And yeah.
Right.
So
That's a lot of shit I didn't know. So I'm gonna try and learn guitar. Russell's
You
gonna
should.
teach me probably.
I should too.
Yeah. Are you thinking about getting into it? Do you have a guitar?
I don't.
Okay.
But if I was going to pick up an instrument and learn it just for an instrument's sake, not try to do what I was doing, like try to learn composition overall using lots of different kinds of sounds and making a full thing, it would be guitar or maybe bass, but one or the other. Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to going back to piano.
Yeah, well, like I said, I never really approached piano from like, let's learn to play piano and actually sit down and play a whole thing. It was always just like, let's play a melody here with one hand. Now let's put the chords in with one hand. It's not really playing per se the way that you sit down and play a live performance,
Okay.
which is a whole other skill. But yeah, I think I'd go with guitar over piano, but either one would be interesting. Any kind of instrument's interesting. Playing music is really fun.
Yeah, I mean, hearing like when Russell talks about it, like how much he's like obsessed with it and enjoys
Yeah,
it. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a good activity. I don't know why.
it would be.
Like I had a guitar for years. I think I don't know why. Maybe I was just too distracted by other shit, and I just never.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's like to get to the level Russell's at requires a lifetime, which is what he's had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's when you watch somebody that can just play and sing at the same time, it's pretty magical. It's like, I don't know. I would love to be able to do that. Like I can sing okay, but I can't play anything.
I've got
Really.
an example for you, Hostbusters,
Okay.
of consonants versus dissonance. Let me
Yeah,
make
let's hear
sure
it.
I'm loud enough. Let me mellow this out. So, okay, this is a very consonant chord. It's A major 7. Oh, it sounds kind of happy, doesn't it?
Right.
It's a very
Yeah.
dissonant chord that I don't even know what it's called, but
Right. If
so
you want
you
to the
it's not going to be a hit song, probably. But that was the easiest example I could think of. Is
Okay, so the first note was the consonant, the happy note, and
all
then
the
the
notes harmonize together in a pleasant way.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And with
Okay.
like dissonant, like if you play like a F, then a F sharp, then a G, all in the same chord, it's not going to sound real pretty.
Mm. Because those are all
That's because if you have two notes, really like F sharp and G are right next to each other, right? So
Yeah, when they're too close to each other, that's
yeah,
instant
that's when you
dissonance,
get the
which a lot
dissonance.
of people like.
Well, you like to mix it in, like I said, create that tension, then go back to the consonants. Yeah. But generally, you want to, like most chords are built like skipping a note. So you'd be like C, C, E, G.
Yeah, like a major chord is a one, a
Right.
third, and a fifth. And
Right.
they always sound really like they rhyme or whatever with the other notes you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah,
Like a
exactly.
major chord will just sound like the extension of a note. Like if you play a C, a E, and a G, it all harmonizes so well with C that it's like, ah.
Yeah. Well, the time, like the bass, what do you call it? The fundamental, no, what do you call
Root
it?
note.
Root note. Exactly. Like the root note, you're playing these other things to harmonize with your root note. So C, E, G, C is the root note, and the E and the G both go, like an E is a third above it, and a G is a fifth above it. And you play those together. Was that a major chord? And you're going to get this pleasant sound that still sounds C-ish, but it has the harmonizing with these other notes and gives you that overall consonant sound.
Okay. And so consonant, that's a certain group of notes that are consonants.
Well, it's not about the notes themselves; it's about the intervals between notes. So whatever you pick as your starting note, your root note. If you skip a note, then go to the next one, that's going to be a third. And then if you skip a note and then go to the next one above that, that's going to be a fifth. So that's generally going to be a very consonant chord.
Okay.
So yeah, it's all about intervals, and where you start that's basically what determines like the key you're playing in. So like what like an A minor scale starts in A, and then you use the intervals that are in the minor. And there's three different minor scales, but most people use what's called the natural minor. And if you follow that, then you're going to get you can kind of map out. Okay, this one's going to be consonant, this one's going to be dissonant, and then you mix them up to create a progression that is appealing in some way. And usually, if it's just all consonant notes, it's going to be boring and sound very, I don't know, trite or something. It's just not that interesting. So you want to have a mix, but you don't want them all to be dissonant. You know, it would definitely be an unpleasant sounding thing.
Now, is there a way that you could run it like through a computer where, like, I'm not sure how subjective versus objective it is, but is there a way you could compose it and then run it through a computer and a computer could tell you this is how appealing this song is going to be on average?
Yeah, well, the reason that like you can get AI to create these songs and shit is because it is so known and so formulaic and so kind of predictable in a certain kind of way. Because yeah, you can do that.
Okay. Now, since did you enjoy music more before you knew all this stuff, or like has knowing
No,
all
this
this
made me enjoy music a lot more.
you
And I don't know much, like compared to like Russell or even Foreman. Like anybody that plays knows a shit ton more than me. And they have much. It's not even about knowing so much as just having experience with it. But no, I definitely had a much greater appreciation for music after I learned this stuff.
Yeah, I was just wondering that because like with some things in life, it seems like if you know more about it, it can either improve it or it can, you're almost like so aware of what's happening that it takes
Well,
you
yeah,
out of it.
you start to like analyze it in a certain way that you wouldn't when you don't know anything about it. Like if you don't know anything about it, you just sit there and it hits you and you enjoy it or you don't. Where when you learn more about and you know what's going on more, it's like you're kind of, oh, what's he doing there? You know, like you're approaching it from a more analytical, critical kind of thinking about it. But
Right.
then you can get out of that mode and just go back, revert back, and not think about it, and just, do I like the way this sounds? You know.
Okay. So you can still enjoy. You can still enjoy it. It's just a different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I love music. Music, like, if I couldn't hear, if I lost my hearing, that would be a huge detriment to my enjoyment of life, for sure.
Yeah, I was trying to understand like the whole thing about Beethoven being deaf and knowing how to compose music. Like, I guess I'm confused about that whole. Was he half deaf or fully deaf?
I heard he used to put his ear on the piano itself
Okay.
to like at least get the vibrations. I'm not sure, but I mean,
Okay.
I don't think if he just was deaf from birth, he wouldn't have had the same appreciation for music. I don't, obviously. So I think it's that he went deaf after having been a brilliant composer and musician, and then trying to hold on to that for as long as possible and doing what he could to still like get there. You know, like I said, putting his ear right on the piano and feeling the vibrations. But
And that was a way to still experience it in a.
Yeah, I don't know how well he would have experienced it, but he already knew, he would have already known like what's good, you know, in quotes, and what isn't. And again, doing it by not just hearing it, but by his former knowledge of what he already knew about it, I would assume. So he knew what worked and what didn't, and yeah, it can be very pattern based and formulaic. And so if you've been doing that and then you go deaf, it's like you're still going to know what works and what doesn't, and still be able to compose music. I think a lot of his music was actually composed after I don't know if he went totally deaf, but after he started having problems.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know that much about the history of Beethoven, to be honest, but other than what everybody knows, that he did go deaf, partially at least.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know. I don't know shit about music compared to you guys, but I still enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to know shit about music to enjoy it. It's just one of those.
It's just one of those things.
One of those beautiful things in the world that, like, we all experience as long as you can hear it.
I'm impressed with young people that are still into analog everything. I think that's really cool. I notice that a lot looking at newer bands on Instagram and stuff.
A lot of retro stuff in general, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely retro, but I'm just
like
impressed.
Being into LPs as opposed to CDs, you know.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm old and don't really give that much of a fuck about it anymore, but I think it's cool that young people are like, yeah, I want a tube amp. You know, I want these analog pedals. I'm like, hey, that was like me when I was a young guy.
Yeah, I think there's something a lot
more analog snob when I was young. I didn't think any kind of gear or whatever was worth a crap if it was new. But that might have been more.
I always wanted to get like a Mini Moog, like not the old ones, but like they came out with a new version of the Mini Moog in, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And it had all the bells and whistles, like it had MIDI and all the modern things on it, but it also had the ability to do the old stuff. I always thought that'd be really cool just to fuck around with that. And
yeah, I compromised by when I was young. I liked new gear that was like a new guitar that was built like an old Stratocaster or whatever, or you could get the old style parts and put them on a newer model. And make it kind of vintagey.
Or find an old one or like an original, whatever.
All that stuff got so expensive in the past 20 years. I'm amazed at like stuff that we used to consider shit. No offense, I'm not going to name any brand names. I don't want to any possible future advertisers for busters. I don't want to alienate. But stuff that we'd be like, shit, I wouldn't pay more than $200 for that. People are paying like $2,000 for now, and it's like, whoa.
Well, that's what happened with a lot of the early drum machines, like a lot of the Roland stuff back in the day. A lot of early drum machines, like the TB303 is a great example. It was like it was
Donkomatic.
There was this thing, the TB303. It was built between like, I don't know, 1980 and 1984 or something like that. And it was this thing you would program to get bass sound. Like if you're a guitar player, you could program it to get bass sounds, right? And it was kind of shitty sounding for that purpose. But then people figured out like how to use it in its own right, like programming it. I don't know how to even put it, but in isolation, right? And it spurned the genre of acid house music in the late 80s when they hadn't been in production for a long time. And, you can only get them in secondhand shops. And, but people figured out how to use it in a different way from its original intended purpose. And it became this other thing that wasn't intended for. I think the Roland TB303 is the best example of that. Baseline, I think it was called baseline synthesizer when it first came out, but yeah, it's that like squelchy, that like really cheesy, like that song from like, I don't know, Jersey Shore or whatever. That's an example of that. It's like something that
I remember reading an interview with Trent Reznor, probably 30 years ago, where he was talking about using those like I always call them throbber machines, those bass machines and drum machines, and he would hook analog guitar pedals up to them, like phasers and flangers and stuff, to get really cool sounds out of them.
Yeah,
I always remember thinking that's cool shit.
You'd run a guitar through them to use their filters and whatnot, and and use them basically as sort of like an effects pedal, but not really, but like, as an effect for, and Trent Reznor is a great example of people doing that. Like he would always look for old gear and do that, figure out new ways to use
that's the thing. Don't write off something as being crap. Actually try it first, because a lot of people will shit on something and then like 5 years later it's one of the most popular things you can own. So it's really, guitar players can be really weird and snobby about shit, so you got to be careful.
You remember there's a thing called Speak and Spell? It was like this toy from like the 80s where you would
E.T. had one, or Elliot did.
Right. It was this weird toy, and this, you know who Aphex Twin is? He was this producer. So Aphex Twin, he did this thing called oh god, what do they call it? I don't even remember. Like there's a word for it, but I can't remember what it is. But he took that and he would use that. He would use the electronics in it to produce these weird ass sounds. And then he would like fuck with it so it wasn't actually just using it as it was intended. He would like take it apart and do things. And he would get these crazy sounds that you couldn't get anywhere else from any kind of synthesizer or anything.
That's become popular with guitar effects pedals now. Is using memory chips from old Ataris and Commodores.
Commodore 64. Yeah, Commodore 64 is really popular for that. And exactly. Atari's like, there's a whole genre of music called what's it called? Chiptune, where they would use the sounds, those cheesy sounds that were in like old video games, like like Mario theme kind of sound, and use those sounds to compose. Like they would usually take some popular song and compose it like a chiptune version of it, and it's actually, I don't know, it sounds good. It's like it's interesting. It's like a new version of something you're familiar with, and yeah.
Do they use the actual like hardware from the old stuff, or is
Yeah, they would. They would get really good at like basically electronic engineering and figure out how to use it. Like I said, with the speak and spell, like in unintended ways. I can't. I think I forget what the term was for it, but there was a term. But yeah, and there's actually this guy on YouTube. He's called Look Mum, like MUM, like he's British. Like Look Mum, no computer, and he would make his own synthesizers using like very basic parts and stuff, and actually make some pretty cool sounding music with it. These sort of homemade machines. It's very popular.
That's using the
especially in electronic music.
old stuff. That's the idea.
Yeah, sound cards, any kind of electronics, like little basic, like the Speak and Spell was a toy basically, and it just had a basic sound card, and then they would figure out how to get these crazy sounds out of it. And then, like Russ said, they'd run them through various effects, guitar pedals or flangers, reverbs, anything, any kind of standard studio equipment, and explore sounds. It was very popular in the 2000s. Like the 2000s was a real like heyday of electronic music for like, not just like it had the sort of standard stuff, like standard, not doing that kind of like using regular instruments, regular synthesizers and stuff. But then there was also a lot of experimentation, and had some very interesting acts that came out of doing that kind of stuff.
Well, there's this thing now called sound fonts. I see a lot.
Yeah, sound fonts are basic. It's like they're basically samples. It's like a palette of sounds that you would use in a sound card in a computer, and just like how you have all these different fonts as far as like typographical fonts, you would have these sound fonts as this whole other palette of sounds to work with.
It's like the stuff that you did on the computer before, like similar.
Yeah, I mean it would be in the same realm, yeah, but it's more. I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of more experimental. It's like, but sound fonts aren't necessarily experimental. There's like you have these standard MIDI sounds back in the day, like general MIDI. You'd buy a shitty Casio keyboard, and they would have these certain sounds. Like this is a trombone sound. This is a whatever.
Right.
And yeah, and they never really sounded like the thing they were supposed to sound like, but they were cool in their own right. You know what I mean?
Is that what they use for like vaporwave stuff? Not that it's like the biggest trend now, but it was a few years ago.
I don't know what the vaporwave is. I've heard that term before, but it spurned genres of music that had these weird names and things like that were like I said, chiptune is a good example where you'd use like video gamey kind of sounds.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you never heard vaporwave?
I've heard the term.
It's like
couldn't identify it if I heard it necessarily.
If you listen to Nightwave.
That's Nightwave, like that's synthwave. That's
synthwave. That's different.
Yeah, so synthwave is like what? Yeah, Mersh and the intro to Nightwave, or to what's it called, ROTC. They used a lot of synthwave music. That's a whole genre. It's very popular. There's a guy. What's his name? Something Midnight. Fuck, I can't remember. But yeah, this guy, he would like take famous songs, like he did like "Where Is My Mind" by the Pixies. He did like Johnny Cash version of "Hurt," and just different things, and he would do like these synthwave versions of it. And
synthwave is very like the soundtrack to what's that movie? God damn, the one with Harrison Ford.
Blade Runner.
Where he's
Blade Runner. Yeah, exactly.
Blade Runner. Okay.
Blade,
It
like, yeah.
is? That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lucky guess.
No, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, like the Blade Runner, that was synthwave, and it was sort of this thing that was in the 80s. It's a very sort of 80s-ish sound, but then it got like revamped in the 2000s and became very popular. And it's got like a lot of like the drum sounds are super reverby and very dramatic. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah. I like synthwave a lot, actually. I think I play it on intros to my stream sometimes. Yeah, this song called what's it called? X Valve or something like that. I always play. That's kind of has elements of synthwave in it. People always give me shit about it, like this music's gay. It's like fuck you. I like it.
Wait, so synthwave is like MIDI? Is it similar to MIDI sounds?
Yeah, well, so MIDI was a so MIDI is a protocol for how you would trigger synthesizers from the early 80s on. So it's both like a programming protocol, but also they used to have this thing called general MIDI in these keyboards, like mostly cheap keyboards, but also more advanced ones that have that in there too. And like the song Head Like a Hole by 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor. The intro where it sort of sounds like a rattlesnake or something. That's all using just general MIDI sounds directly without any kind of effects added on them, just like raw MIDI sounds is what that is. And just like so many iconic sort of 80s, 90s, and they continue to use it to this day, but was this thing called general MIDI, which was a collection of sounds. It's like I said before, the trombone, et cetera. Like I keep saying trombone, but whatever. That's just one example. But it was these certain sounds that they had, and they would be on these cheap keyboards, and so it became very ubiquitous in a lot of 80s pop music, or well, all kinds of music actually. But yeah, so MIDI is like it's how you would like trigger a synthesizer. You can send like, okay, this note, play it at this velocity, and it's a protocol for doing that kind of thing. So you would program compositions to like trigger synthesizers back in the day, or even to this day, it's still the standard. I don't think like they've been trying to replace it, but I don't think they have yet.
But over time, has the sound become more complex or realistic?
Well, that's what they're trying to do. It was very basic because it was like based on primitive like 80s computer technology. So where they had limited storage, and so they can only have a certain amount of sound. So they're trying to like kind of upgrade it and upgrade the capabilities of what it can do. How many parameters you can program in. So how much control you would get over it. That they're trying to expand that. I forget what it's called, but there's another protocol that's come out since they're trying to. No, it has, but I don't think like it's generally been popular like enough where it's like MIDI. I think is still the standard. I haven't fucked with this shit since 2021, which isn't that long ago, but MIDI was still the standard thing back then. So when I talked before about how they reissued the Mini Moog 10 or 15 years ago. So the Mini Moog came out in the late 60s, and it was just pure analog. You had to be able to play the keyboard to get it to do anything. The updated version had like MIDI controls, so you could sit there on your computer and program in MIDI and essentially, quote unquote, play it using that, because it had this MIDI interface in it, which synthesizers started having in like the early 80s. So yeah, it's it's a protocol for controlling electronic instruments, essentially.
Were people like averse to it when it first came out because it was more
Yeah.
computerized versus real?
Well, yeah, some people were and some people weren't, but yeah, a lot of musicians were. They're like, oh, we're not gonna we're not gonna put synthesizers in our band, and a lot of people hated Van Halen when they came out with
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
1984 Jump. Yeah, like 1984 Jump. Remember that had a ton of synths in it. Like before that, there was a just strictly guitar driven band because of Eddie's playing, and then they augmented it with synthesizers. And yeah, a lot of people objected to that. But then you've had bands like Nine Inch Nails that were all about that from the beginning. So yeah, it's a mix. But personally, I love electronic music. I find it to be just, I don't know, very fascinating and sort of extremely deep. Like the amount of different sounds you can get versus, I mean, it's hard to compare it to like something like just playing guitar, because playing guitar, you have all these effects pedals and stuff that can take your sounds to different places too. But it was definitely different from your traditional 60s, 70s bands when it first came out in the 80s. And that's why they called it like new wave was a term used for that kind of music, like Depeche Mode and
okay. I knew I heard of that, but I didn't know what it applied to. So it's all synth related stuff.
Yeah, usually there's sort of this battle between synthesizers were seen as a departure from traditional bass, guitar, drums, vocals, keys. Well, traditional keys like Rhodes pianos, things like that, organs. And yeah, it was seen as like Van Halen's the quintessential example, because a lot of their fans didn't like when they came out with 1984 Jump and then the next album with the first album with what's his name? The guy that had the tequila after David Lee Roth. What's his fucking name?
Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar, yeah. The album with Right Now. Is that the song's called? Yeah. And like Why Can't This Be Love? It had a whole bunch of synthesizers. Right Now, not so much, a little bit, but like Why Can't This Be Love? Synthesizer have a famous like intro. And
it's weird how I don't think you probably did, but I grew up, and by the time I was like 14 or so, I got really into the punk rock and metal kind of thing, which you weren't even supposed to mix those, you know. It was like, yeah, those guys didn't like each other. But being so anti-tech, like if anything had synths or digital stuff in it, you're like, oh, that sucks. But now I could give a fuck. If I think something's good, I'm going to enjoy it. I don't care if it's all analog or all digital or what. But
a band like Metallica or Megadeth or Iron Maiden that's all so guitar driven.
Like, fuck keyboards.
Yeah,
fuck pussy. New wave. Fuck dance music.
You're a pussy if you like synthesizers. Basically.
Yeah, you're a F word. And punk bands are just, they're like, that's not even real music. That's just someone pressing a bunch of bleeding buttons.
Yeah. There's different versions of punk, but yeah, it was. I mean, the original thing with punk was still using traditional instruments back in the 70s, but it was all about like, we're not professionals. We're just playing from the heart. We don't really know what we're doing. Blah, blah, like the Sex Pistols, and I wouldn't say the Clash so much. The Clash always sounded pretty good, but yeah, that was kind of the original. The original idea behind punk was like, we're doing our.
People missed rock and roll that was more basic, because when they first came out, AC/DC, people thought of them as a punk band. No shit, AC/DC.
Wow, that's crazy. Because AC/DC, so
because it was so like such a down, like 3-chord loud guitar, bass, and drums rock. People are like, oh, that's a punk band.
Yeah. They fucking rule, man. Donington, like that's still one of my favorite videos is Thunderstruck at Donington on YouTube. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I started off with rock and roll, and that'll probably always be my main favorite kind of music, but I like all kinds of stuff. I couldn't imagine just wanting to play nothing but heavy metal and hating everything else.
Right, you fucking faggots. Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I love fucking
keyboard on your song, queer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely like. I don't know. I feel like I've always liked synthesizers. The first album I ever bought was Europe, The Final Countdown, where they have that like that fucking
That's an
synth.
iconic synth song, though.
Yeah, it really is. And that I bought that as an LP. I was in Belgium at the time.
If I had a keyboard and you could get that patch that sounded exactly like that, I would want that in my whatever you call it.
Your arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always loved synths, and I really liked Bon Jovi back in the day. They had like the vocoder, and
we would have been that was some of the first music we ever heard, because I can honestly remember thinking every band was a new wave synth band from the UK when I first started watching MTV and stuff.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I mean, I started like paying attention to music in the early '80s. It was like I loved Boy George, like Karma Chameleon and shit.
Yeah, Duran, Adam Ant.
That's when
Thompson Twins.
I saw Adam Ant. I saw Adam Ant with Nine Inch Nails. It was fucking awesome. When was that?
I never, because you used to get shit when I was growing up if you liked punk and metal at the same time. But I don't know. A lot of that was more about being in a gang than actually the music.
Cool. I'm a tough guy. I only listen to metal. Yeah. It was very much.
I never cry. I'm a total badass.
Yeah. And that was all about that playing fast, fucking speed guitar.
Yeah, which got really annoying. Like when every time you'd hear a song, it was on everything. It's like, oh man.
They're good though.
When I first heard blues, I was amazed at how slow it was.
Yeah. I love Rammstein. They're sort of like later in the metal thing. I don't know, maybe like
Rest in peace, George.
Yeah, right.
He loved that. I think what was that one song he loved?
I don't even know the names. They're all in German, but I don't.
Yeah. Forkin, Spurkin, It's one of their songs with one of his favorite
language. It goes perfectly with that kind of music.
Yeah, German romantic poetry would still sound like someone was angry.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like that old Norm thing. So Russell, you were playing. It seemed like the second time you played music, we could hear it better. I think I turned off echo cancellation. Because originally when you were playing it, it wasn't coming through that well.
Yeah, echo cancellation is probably a gate of some type, I would imagine. I would imagine that's how echo cancellation works. I'm not sure. But yeah, probably. If it goes too low, it would probably cut it off. Like the volume.
Yeah, you gotta be real low volume with a phone if you're playing guitar, electric guitar.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing was on, so I turned on the adjust mic volume and the echo cancellation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and you sound really quiet now, Hostbusters.
I sound really. Oh yeah, I just saw your message. Okay.
Let me come back.
Okay. I don't know. It's probably a setting on my computer or something. Who knows? I feel like Russell tricked us and he's not going to come back. He's going to go to sleep. I don't know. Sam Hill said he was saying that you they were talking about you or something. How's it sound?
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay,
they were.
that's better.
Is
There
it?
we go.
It's different.
Yeah, it
Well,
sounds.
I guess I'll try and figure it out for the next show or stream. Pot Awful's like, you don't do a show, you do a stream. I do a show. That's what Kyle says too. They're very, very technical about it.
Kyle does do a show. I agree with that. I don't know about Pot Awful.
Yeah, and does he still stream?
Kyle? I have no idea.
Okay.
Probably. Like Sam was saying, he just got out of jail, so he must.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd like
Uniqueness.
to talk about that and much more. I do have to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for
Right
being
on.
here.
No worries, man.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night,
Have
you
a
too.
good one.
Have a good
Take it
one.
easy,
Have
guys.
an amazing day. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Later, guys.
Bye.
See y'all.